This is Guardian Radio, your station for up-to-the-minute news, intelligent, interactive, and engaging conversation. 96.9 FM. The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
Labor and Immigration Minister Bell admitting that no action was taken against some irregular Chinese workers. The MP for South and Central Eleuthera seeking an update from BPL on Eleuthera's power woes. And we are talking about BPL and the power woes this morning and your extraordinarily high bills. What are you to do as a consumer? It's all straight ahead this morning. I'm Dwight Strachan, and this is Morning Blend.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of the new way. You know that it's here. It's the start of the end of the old way. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Good morning again, Bahamas. It is Wednesday, July 19th, 2023. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Again, I'm Dwight Strachan. In a moment, Chester Robards will be joining us. Also this morning in business, it's our monthly series with Bristol Wines and Spirits. Always something special with them. That's coming up in our 9 o'clock hour. But first, it's time for the overnight, the latest breaking news from while we're sleeping, and the top national and international headlines this morning. In the overnight, Minister of Immigration Keith Bell admitting that a group of Chinese construction workers at the British Colonial Hilton construction site had irregularities in their immigration status but weren't taken to the Carmichael Road Detention Center because it was, quote, unnecessary. Bell was responding to claims by F&M leader Michael Pintard, who accused Bell, of forcing the release of the Chinese workers. According to Bell, the irregularities found at the site, quote, could and were expeditiously cured by the employer. According to Bell, speaking to reporters yesterday, quote, in January of this year, the Department of Immigration, as part of an ongoing effort to ensure compliance with our immigration laws, discovered a number of irregularities with the status of workers at the British Colonial construction site. Whilst the irregularities required immediate action, it was determined that given all of the circumstances, taking the persons to the detention center was unnecessary. Bell said it was important to note that the employer, as with almost every other major hotel redevelopment, has a heads of agreement with the government to permit the temporary importation of foreign construction workers, and that the irregularities found at the site could and were again expeditiously cured by the employer. He also said the completion of the renovations at the British Colonial will address and add critically needed hotel rooms on New Providence and create additional employment and opportunities for Bahamians. When pressed by reporters about the specific nature of the irregularities and whether he contacted immigration officers at the scene, Bell said he had more pressing matters to address. The U.S. Coast Guard capturing 275 Haitian migrants near Kisal. The migrants were turned over to Bahamian authorities on Monday evening. Immigration Minister Keith Bell says that the group is made up of 275 again, 194 men, 60 women, and 21 children. They were apprehended on Saturday. The Coast Guard said it will continue to deter migrants who attempt to enter the U.S. unlawfully. MP for Central and South Eleuthera, Clay Sweeting, says he was scheduled to meet with BPL officials yesterday to get clarification on when repairs will be made to generators on Eleuthera that have failed in recent days, leaving thousands of residents in the darkness. He says BPL has assured him that they are on a schedule as they look to assess the issue there, and that his meeting was scheduled to go on yesterday as he'd hoped. Thousands of residents in Eleuthera were plunged into darkness after the generator's failure on Friday. The generator that supplies Central and South Eleuthera and Rock Sound also went down due to an engine trip, but a team from BPL was able to fix that issue. An armed robber who was sentenced yesterday to probation as part of a plea deal, Anthony McKenzie, otherwise known as Luke Laguerre, admitted involvement in 2 armed robberies that occurred in 2019. On December 23rd, McKenzie, while armed with a handgun, robbed Debbie Roll of $2,200, a Mini Cooper, a Mercedes-Benz, and a Pandora chain and bracelet. On November 17th, McKenzie and others conspired to rob the Rubis gas station on Prince Charles Drive. Well, pursuant to the plea agreement, McKenzie was sentenced to 3 years of probation. If he's convicted of any offense during this period, McKenzie will be sentenced to 5 years imprisonment. The time that McKenzie spent in custody awaiting trial was taken into account in arriving at the sentence. And the Court of Appeal upholding the bail refusal of a man accused of murder. 29-year-old Alcott Fox was charged with the November 2022 murder of Malik Fernander in Exuma. Fernander was himself on bail for murder when he was killed. According to the Court of Appeal judgment, he had relocated to Exuma in an apparent effort to distance himself from his former way of life and perhaps from those who wished to do him harm. During his bail application, the prosecution alleged that Fox would not be safe if granted bail, as his alleged victim had also been murdered while on bail. In his decision to refuse bail, Senior Justice Bernard Turner noted that Fernander had been accused of killing Fox's brother. He said retaliatory killings raise the specter of other retaliatory killings, which, from the evidence, can extend even to the Family Islands. And charging that the blacklisting of the Bahamas by the European Union is both indefensible and immoral, Prime Minister Philip Davis calling on the EU to take their economic feet off our necks and immediately remove the Bahamas from the blacklist. Davis making the call during a hard-hitting address at the plenary session of the Third European Union Community of Latin American and Caribbean States Summit in Brussels, Belgium, where he's also challenged the EU to deliver on its promises. Noting the Bahamas' vulnerability in the face of climate change, Davis says there is much the EU can do to help. Overseas, at least 4 protesters injured in Kenya today as police clashed with demonstrators who are calling for the government to lower the cost of living. The opposition has called for 3 days of countrywide protests starting today in a new wave of demonstrations aimed at forcing the president to address the rising cost of living. President William Ruto had vowed that no protest would take place in the country, saying he would take on opposition leader Raila Odinga head-on. 4 protesters were injured in the capital, Nairobi's Mathare area, according to police officials. Businesses in Nairobi remain closed today as police used tear gas and water cannons to disperse protesters. demonstrations were reported in several other parts of the country. Day schools in Nairobi and in coastal cities like Mombasa were ordered to be closed by the education minister. Last week's protest left more than 6 people dead and many injured, including 53 children who went into shock after tear gas was thrown inside their school compound. Religious leaders have been calling for dialogue between the government and the opposition to end the protests. In sports, Bahamian quarter-mile sensation Stephen Gardner powering his way to a world-leading time of 43.74 seconds, crossing the finish line first in the men's 400 meters at the Gulai Istvan Memorial in Hungary yesterday. It was the second fastest time of his career and the sixth fastest time that the national record leader has dipped, the sixth time that he's dipped under the 44-second mark in that event. Also in action at that meet, sprinter Anthony Strachan and long jumper Laquan Nairn. Gardner back in action after running here at the B3A's Junior and Senior National Track and Field Championships less than 2 weeks ago, running 44.64 seconds in the 400-meter final. The race yesterday was the first time Gardner went sub-44 this season, making a return to the track after missing the majority of last season with a tendon inflammation. Gardner giving a preview of what Bahamians and track and field fans around the world can expect of the World Athletic Championships in just over a month's time, right there in Hungary. Gardner finished ahead of Jamaican national record holder Rasheen McDonald, who ran 44.03, the fastest he's run since 2015. Meanwhile, Strom was in action in the women's 200 meters after being in the 100-meter dash on Sunday in Poland. Yesterday, the 29-year-old Strom finished third after stopping the clock at 22.45 seconds, her third fastest time this season. Read more on how everybody did in today's Guardian Sports section. For Major League Baseball, MLB had a night of offense not seen in 129 years, with 12 teams scoring double-digit runs. 3 games ended 11-10 on the same day for the first time. 12 teams tied May 30, 1884. 1884, that's the year, for the second most with double-digit runs in one day, trailing only 13 on July 4th, 1894. The Chicago Cubs topped the scoring Tuesday night with 17-3 trouncing over Washington, and Arizona outlasted Atlanta 16-13. San Francisco beat Cincinnati, the New York Mets topped the Chicago White Sox, and Kansas City edged Detroit all by 11-10. 4 games in which both teams scored double-digit runs matched the record of July 4th, 1894, and July 9th, 1898, according to Major League Baseball. That's sports, and that's the overnight. Time for your first look at weather. Your first look at weather this morning brought to you by Nescafe Coffee. We've got moderate to strong breezes they're gonna hover over the central and southeast Bahamas due to the strengthening high pressure ridge. A westward moving tropical wave near the northwest and central Bahamas will also trigger some unsettled weather as that quickly moves away from the area. A number of special warnings. Got a high probability of waterspout activity over the area, and so mariners are being asked to exercise caution. Beachgoers in the central and southeast Bahamas should also look out for rip currents along east and south coast beaches. And again, everybody's being advised to remain hydrated, as we're expecting another very hot day today. Plus, we've got a plume of Saharan dust that's going to move into the southeast Bahamas and gradually spread across the country, and so that could be problematic for people with respiratory issues. So, for today, for the Northwest Bahamas, your forecast calls for variably cloudy and hot conditions with scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms across the extreme northwestern islands. Partly cloudy, hot, and humid with isolated showers and thunderstorms over the remaining islands. Gusty winds and higher seas expected in or near heavy showers or thunderstorms. Winds east to southeast at 10 to 15 knots, seas 2 to 4 feet. For the central and southeast Bahamas, mostly sunny, hot, and breezy to windy, with widely scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms, mainly across the central Bahamas. Showers may become heavy and thunderstorms strong to severe at times. Hazy conditions expected across the southeastern islands. For boaters, small craft advisory now in effect. Winds easterly at 15 to 25 knots, seas 5 to 8 feet. Again, another hot day in store. Temperatures getting up to around 93 Fahrenheit, 34 Celsius, but the heat index again in the triple digits. We've been going for weeks with this. Today, it's going to feel like it's 107 Fahrenheit, 42 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight getting down to about 82 Fahrenheit, 28 Celsius. That's your first look at weather this morning. We'll have an extended outlook coming up after traffic in just a bit. This first look at weather brought to you by Nescafe Coffee. Elevate your coffee experience with Nescafe Gold. Let's take a break. When we come back, we're discussing the day's top stories right here on your home for fresh news and smart talk all day. Guardian Radio 96.9.
My business couldn't survive without my credit card machine from Fidelity. It's fast, convenient, and my clients love it. My sales increased, and I can track my earnings. Get your credit card machine from Fidelity today. Call 356-7764.
There's a new electric vehicle in town. The Jack brand of SUVs, trucks, sedans, and commercial vans. Available only at Easy Car Sales, home of the fully electric vehicle. For a powerful, smooth ride at a fraction of the cost to drive, leave the pump behind and hit the road with Jack. Visit easy242.com to see our brand new Jack models and drop into Easy Car Sales for a test drive. It'll have you singing. Hit the road with Jack and don't you pump gas no more.
Introducing Wendy's new Chimichurri Cheeseburger. Chimichurri. That's how you pronounce it. Let it roll off your tongue. Then get ready for some ridiculously good flavor. Fresh, herby, garlicky, green, chimichurri. It'll feel like a relaxing backyard get-together with friends on a Sunday. But in a burger. Come meet Wendy's new Chimichurri Cheeseburger with our new Dave's Craft Lemonade. Wendy's, different inside and out.
Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Street, has those hard-to-find fasteners for you right now. You can find stainless steel regular hex, carriage bolts, galvanized bolts, threaded rods, nails, self-tap screws, sex bolts, anchor bolts, turnbuckles, masonry tools, hand tools, and weed whacker strings. Check out the rope selection and car body fasteners, too. Special orders are welcome. It's your #1 fastener store. Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Streets. Call 326-1976.
Tired of banks forcing you to use technology to bank the way they want you to? Your convenience is important. So no matter what your banking needs, Commonwealth Bank's friendly staff are always available in branch for that personal one-on-one service. But when you choose technology, our online and mobile banking app offers you state-of-the-art functionality. The choice is yours. Commonwealth Bank. Bank the way you want.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. You know that it's still. It's the start of the end of the old way. Wake up, it's a new day. 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 Wake up, wake up.
Welcome back to Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. We're streaming live on GuardianTalkRadio.com and on the Guardian Radio app for smart devices. We're also on your televisions on Cable Bahamas Channel 969 and BTC Flow Channel 612. You can tweet us at MorningBlend969 or Facebook.com/MorningBlend969. Text us on the Guardian Radio text line powered by BTC 422-4796. Standard text rate supply. Once again, I'm Dwight Strachan. Joining me now, Chester Robards.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir. Great to have you with us.
Thank you.
Haven't seen you in a couple weeks.
A week.
A week. Well, you weren't here last week.
I'm back.
You weren't here last week.
Back from the future.
Hope you're doing well.
I'm good.
Great. So now I can take vacation.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. Okay. Coming up this morning, I told you about it yesterday. We complained quite a bit last month about the bills, but the BPL bills were even higher, at least for me and a few people who called in
I'm
yesterday.
scared. I haven't seen mine yet.
It is terrifying. And I'm going to save it for the discussion.
Okay.
We're going to talk about that this morning. Debbie Deal's going to be joining us about what's happening here and what you can do, if there's anything you can do as a consumer. But
She's the real deal on what you can do.
Okay. So they didn't take a vacation for the puns, but I guess that's fine. That's you. But yeah, so we're going to talk about that, and I want to hear from you. What did your bills look like? Did yours skyrocket?
Oh,
Did yours triple from where they were just a couple of months ago? And what are we going to do about it? Are you just going to take it? And this didn't have to happen. This isn't because of consumption. Yes, it's very, very hot, and everybody's burning electricity with the AC and the fans and whatever. But this isn't a consumption issue. This is all fuel surcharge. Mm-hmm. And should we just take it?
We're not gonna take it.
We're going to talk about that. In other parts of the world, they don't take it. Anyway, and then later in business, our friends from Bristol will be here, their monthly segment with us, and we're looking forward to that. And we're going to need that after talking about BPL.
We're not gonna take it.
But anyway, let's talk about what else is in the news. And in the news, I mean, it is dangerous, right? You can't be saying those type of things. Like in other parts of the world, they don't take it.
What's dangerous to say?
Isn't it? I mean, people say you're inciting.
It's what happens in other parts of the world.
We just read to you what's going on in Kenya. 3 days of protests over the rising cost of living, the high prices. They don't want to take it. In France, they nearly burned down in every city a few weeks ago over some things that were.
We don't have enough.
Every week it seems to
We don't have enough people who suffer from these things. That's what happens.
Oh, they're suffering. But they suffer in silence.
For their own reasons.
I guess. But all at the same time, and you have to wonder if it's all related, right? The crime rates, what people are experiencing, right? Is that how other people are dealing with it? And then does that make any sense? But anyway, we'll talk about BPL in a bit. So congratulations to Stephen Gardner, the world-leading time in the 400 meters so far. This is amazing.
Yeah.
Heading right into the World Championships, World Athletic Championships next month.
So
we can keep that up.
leading time means he has the fastest time in the world?
Of the year.
Of the year.
Okay. Fast time in the world this entire year so far.
Right.
Yeah.
He doesn't have the world record.
No.
Okay.
But the fastest time that any man has run this year.
This year, right. Okay.
So that's amazing.
Yes, absolutely.
And we hope we can keep that up.
Stevie is a boss.
Straight up into the World Championships. That would be fantastic. So looking forward to that. There's
You
details.
see his head?
What about it?
Bald people move faster.
Yeah? Is that how it works?
I don't know.
Do you feel fast?
We should feel proud.
Okay. Bald men unite.
Absolutely.
Okay. And yeah, you can read more in today's Guardian Sports section about how everybody did. Anthony Strachan doing well too.
Yeah.
And I guess we'll talk about this a little later. The EU blacklisting. Let's talk about it now. Strong words from the Prime Minister there, charging that the blacklisting of the Bahamas by the European Union. This happened again?
Yeah, but I mean, it happened a while ago.
Okay, so this is not a new thing. Just
No.
generally speaking,
Yeah.
blacklistings by the EU are indefensible and immoral. And he called on the EU to, quote, take your economic feet off our necks. And immediately remove the Bahamas from the blacklist. Our Christelle Brown writing about it in Guardian Business. Davis making the call during a hard-hitting address to the plenary session of the Third European Union Community of Latin America and Caribbean States Summit going on in Brussels, Belgium. He also charged the EU to deliver on its promises about climate change. He said, quote, can a country as small as ours grow strong enough to face such threats? I say yes, and to our friends in the European Union, I say there are three things that can be done immediately, done today, done this week, done this month. Firstly, remove us from your blacklist. Take your economic feet off our necks. The EU has placed us on a blacklist using criteria which are unfairly applied to us and not to European jurisdictions or those in developed countries. What is done in Delaware, North Dakota, and in territories of the European Union is little different to what is done by us. In fact, we have achieved higher compliance standards than all but one EU country. And yet for us, the goalposts have been frequently moved and the penalties stiffened. This means that when it comes to insurance, for example, any remittances from European reinsurers as a result of claims are automatically reduced by 25%. 25% of the monies owed is punitively retained by the EU, and we are the poorer for it and less able to rebuild for it. Missions, diplomats, and nationals employed in our missions are having their bank accounts closed or are unable to open bank accounts. What is the message? Are we to close our missions? And if so, how do we strengthen relationships and promote multilateralism between our countries? The blacklisting is indefensible and it is immoral. Remove us from it now. Well, back in March, Attorney General Ryan Pinder said the problem that led to the Bahamas being added to the list, a deficient economic substance reporting system, was currently being rectified. The Prime Minister also called on the EU to support the Bahamas' efforts to insure itself, noting that the region is close to becoming uninsurable. He said, quote, we want to develop our own local insurance market to meet the needs of our people, a form of reinsurance, but our economies are weighed down by debt, an extraordinary percentage of which is directly or indirectly the result of loss and damage from hurricanes made more intense by the climate crisis. We're caught in a vicious cycle of damage, repair, and rebuild. Without the ability to insure, we cannot rebuild. But if you in the EU capitalize our self-insurance offering for our most vulnerable, say for $100 million, we can do it ourselves. Finally, the Prime Minister called on the European Union to fulfill the commitments made to the Bahamas. He said if the EU delivers on just 20% of what was promised, the Bahamas can save itself. Okay. Wow. What do you think is going to come out of that? Do you think?
That's talking to a brick wall.
Oh, is that what it is? Yeah.
Great effort, though.
Well,
I like the language.
So what can we do? What can show the European Union that we're serious about this?
You know what's interesting about
I
world
have some theories. But
You know what's interesting about world powers and economics and stuff? We just make it up. Like we just make up things. And then because some nations are powerful and groups are powerful, they just pass on the things that they make up to us.
Explain yourself. What do you mean?
These theories, the theory of economics, how economics works, it was all made up by people, right? The European Union and the OECD, they all make things up to suit their countries and their own selves, and keep their money where they are, so that jurisdictions like the Bahamas don't benefit, from their citizens keeping money here or moving here as citizens or whatnot, right? It's all made up, right? To benefit somebody else.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we could talk, but, other people have to agree with us and take action, not the bodies that are sanctioning us, right? The banks, the correspondent banks that say they would take their relationships away from us if they see us on a blacklist, don't have to do it.
Right.
They just go, we agree with you. The EU is trash. The OECD is crazy. We're not going to, let's continue to do business. They don't have to do it. I mean, there are a lot of smart people who have said time and over again, you guys don't blacklist some of the jurisdictions that really causing problems like you do these small island nations that you used to call tax havens, right? It just doesn't happen. Even in the U.S., they have tax havens, quote unquote, right?
Yeah.
And they don't get blacklisted like we do. The Cayman Islands, they house more money for citizens of those countries, millions and millions more money than we do.
Yeah.
I mean, they get blacklisted too,
but not in the same way. And it is not an independent country.
Right.
And it is under, well, not quite in the EU, but EU affiliated, right? The UK. All right. So what do you do? What do you do?
What do you do?
I'm telling you, you got to team up with the reparations people, put this all together, and start some boycotts. The Olympics.
Someone's got to listen to you in the boycotts.
The Olympics in Paris. I know a lot of our athletes are looking forward to it, but we've got to send a strong message.
But someone's got to join you. Someone's got to agree with your message and
you got to
join
start
you.
talking.
Yeah.
Start talking and loudly now.
Yeah.
Because, right, the few moments of glory there to return to countries that are struggling and being persecuted by those same people who are going to be smiling up in your face for a couple of weeks.
But
what's the point?
The game of geopolitics, right, is always going to favor the big guy. And we just acquiesce because...
Well, we're too small. But there's a lot of the small people come together, you can make yourself pretty big.
Then they have to agree. I mean, what are they losing if they agree, right? I don't know. It's difficult. But you're right. You have to try and you have to start.
That would get so much coverage.
Yeah.
That would get so much coverage.
Yeah.
And if, I know the U.S. will, but if perhaps black and brown people in the U.S. were to also boycott, because they've got a lot of issues with the way the Europeans, some of the countries are treating migrants, right? There's a lot of reasons to send a message to the EU.
Well, I was listening to the Steve Harvey Morning Show this morning.
Excuse me?
Huh? What? And
you have the nerve to say that? I mean, you could have said I was listening to another show.
Just happened to be flipping and I heard something. I was doing gymnastics this morning. I heard something said on the radio.
Wow.
But the AKAs have started a credit union, right? The first Greek letter alphabet people to start a credit union for themselves.
Is it the skewy ones?
That's those.
When you-
No.
That's not
Don't.
which one is
You're
that?
doing two things that are
Whoa,
different.
both different? I don't know.
Yeah.
So they're not that or that?
They're that.
They're that, but not the
thing you
not-
said.
Oh,
Whoa,
okay.
Don't get yourself in
Because I
trouble.
was gonna say when you deposit the money, do they go?
Well, they're the only people who can deposit money, so it's not open to anybody else. But you need big organizations. I say that because you need big organizations to rally around the things that you're talking about. So all of those Greek-led organizations, all those people to say we are going to join you in this boycott.
Right.
Not just island nations, but people who represent people around the world.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, but you got to start talking
And
now, right?
And they got money, so we need to go.
The Olympics are what, a year away? So this is already lost ground if anybody's going to do this, but no one's going to do it because people just say these things to talk, right? Because next week he'll come there to accept some honor as something right in one of those, probably this week. So, I mean...
The Order of the First.
Right.
Knight Templar of the
What
Bahamas.
we're all joking. Everybody, the entire human race, just joking around. But anyway, let's see what you have to say.
The Bible explains it all, too.
Yeah. 323-6232. 325-4316. 325-4259. Call us toll free 242-300-5720. They don't think we're serious. They're like, okay, sure, he had to say that. Like, Okay, next, right? Anyway, tweet us, Facebook us, text us, 422-4796. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning.
Hi.
Reference to that blacklisting thing, I have a solution that may or may not work. I think the whole of the Caribbean, including the African states, we need to get on social media and text, take your feet off of our necks. We need to breathe.
Might work.
Well, it may not, but it's something to do.
Yeah.
And by the way, y'all keep people holding too long. We pay for these calls, Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. I don't know, would that really? It'd be cute. I think there's some other more tangible things that can be done, right? Like a whole lot more. But doing something is great. I agree. 323-6232. 325-4316. 325-4259. Toll free 242-300-5720. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us. Some of your text messages on this. Okay, that's about BPO. We'll get to that in a bit. The world knows the U.S. LGBTQ agenda. Is this for this show? I don't think we were talking about anything like this at all. What?
We said EU and OECD.
It's just all the letters. So
just
everybody just breaks it all the letters.
AKA.
Here's A, B, C, D, F, G, H, I, J, K. Okay. Anyway, texter. Jamaica and African nations are protesting under penalty of sanctions from the U.S. Brave is cozy with the U.S. VP. What now? And lead spokesperson. What is he negotiating or signing? What are you talking about?
Huh?
He's obligated to tell us. He was rewarded with millions while Jamaica and others get sanctions. You all are not well. Not well. Okay.
What are they doing?
I don't know what's going on. Anyway, so all our governments cater and lay out the red carpet for foreign direct investors. They even answer the phone when these people call with their issues. They turn around and give all the lucrative contracts to their cronies. Now, what's this about? Is this about something else? This is the morning of random text messages. Look at the contracts recently given for road repairs. Never posted on the e-procurement site for me to bid on. Oh, for me to bid on, okay. Come election, y'all encourage everyone to vote for these clowns. Who's y'all? Just to experience the same thing all over again. You can't make this stuff up. Okay, well, this is rant morning, then. Rant morning. This was
why not?
Yeah. We need not waste our time boycotting the EU. We need them. Don't be so quick to destroy our bread and butter. We are diplomatic. Don't be so quick to destroy our bread and butter. That's what they're doing. They're trying to do that.
We're diplomatic. Diplomacy
You're very funny,
Diplomacy is a one-way street.
They don't care about you.
Diplomacy is a one-way street.
They're destroying your bread and butter. Did you not hear what the Prime Minister said? Plus the climate issue. Okay. Sure. They've brainwashed you all very well, though. All right? That's what's been great about the Europeans. They've really done a number. At the end of the day, the EU was on a mission to see our country completely removed off the offshore banking market. Our response should be, we blacklist them as well if we're not operating in good faith in their assessments. Well, I mean, no one's going to even report that one. But I think, but I hear you. Try everything. Try everything.
Everybody who is from a European country, we seize their property.
What? Now where you going?
We freeze their bank account.
Okay, now you're just talking out of your head.
No.
What? No, you're getting out of control, sir. I'm just
Their
saying.
yachts are here.
I'm just saying.
The defense force going after them.
Boycott the Olympics and maybe not
You're
eat
gonna
French
hold them?
fries for a month. That's all. You know,
We got to do it
don't
right.
eat Belgian chocolate
Waffles? What?
or waffles. Sure, that kind of thing. Not that what you're talking about. It's getting a little extreme. Now, if they do something in retaliation, then we could maybe. But that's a bit much.
Fine.
Dwight, great idea with coming together for reparations, but the Brown and other minorities don't even support reparations for black people, so coming together may be a challenge. But they've got other issues, I'm saying. So not just the reparations issue, but the way that migrants, especially from Northern Africa, how they are being treated. There are other issues that people can unite on, possibly. This is, BPL. We'll get to the BPL text messages in a bit. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. Are you there? Good morning. Caller, yes? No?
Hello?
Hi, caller. Good morning.
Yes. Novelty is one of the greatest ingredients that is needed to file a patent, because boycotting the events would actually set you up for a Nobel Peace Prize. That's how great it looks. There's a second novel idea I heard on your show as it relates to putting a fingerprint as a lock and safety method on a weapon. But the other thing you need to realize is the same way we have to pay interest to these fellows who run the BPL or the company or whatever, it's the same way we're doing with the IMF. It's the same old principle. Generate debt and have the country only pay off the interest. So you keep that noose around the neck. Do you see the parallel between the BPL and the EU with lending us money?
Chester, do you care to answer?
Well, okay. No one can tell us exactly how much we owe to BPL and who we owe it to. No one can tell us, are we paying just the interest off, or are we paying on what we owe? No one seems to want to disclose that, and no one wants to tell us exactly how much the country owes to these lending agencies around the world. I mean, there should be a hardcore figure. Shouldn't we be able to find that, sir?
Yeah.
Are you sure you can't?
Be able to find it.
Well, so obviously the plan is to keep this noose around our neck. Don't forget now, it was the Romans who crucified Christ, and the largest church in the world is the Roman Catholic Church. So we under crucifixion still, my friend. Thank you much.
This is the second swipe you've taken at the Catholics in 2 weeks. I don't know what's happening with you. Okay, but that I don't think I get. But anyway, let's leave that there. Oh boy. Okay. This one here says, Chester, I guess, he's not out of control. We have to man up or get nowhere. Drastic action is required. Boy, you're looking for trouble. I'm looking for trouble.
We're already in trouble.
I mean, season. Okay. And what? Okay. Well, we'll see what happens. We'll see if anything comes out of that. I don't think anything will. But
it'd be invaded in a heartbeat.
It goes on the record that something was said, and there you have it, I guess. All right. So what do you make of this? Keith Bell again. Keith Bell, the Labor and Immigration Minister, admitting yesterday that a group of Chinese construction workers at the British colonial construction site had irregularities in their immigration status, but weren't taken to the Cormac Road Detention Center because it wasn't necessary. Bell was responding to claims by F&M leader Michael Pintard, accusing Bell of forcing the release of the Chinese workers. But according to Bell, the irregularities found at the site, quote, could and were expeditiously cured by the employer. Now, Bell says that back in January, as part of their ongoing efforts to ensure compliance with immigration laws, Department of Immigration officials discovered a number of irregularities with the status of workers at the British Colonial construction site. And he said, quote, whilst the irregularities required immediate action, it was determined that given all of the circumstances, taking the persons to the detention center was unnecessary. It is important to note that the employer, as with almost every other major hotel redevelopment, has a heads of agreement with the government of the Bahamas to permit the temporary importation of foreign construction workers. Secondly, the irregularities found at the site could and were expeditiously cured by the employer. And thirdly, the completion of the renovation works at the British colonial property will address and add critically needed hotel rooms on New Providence and create additional employment and opportunities for Bahamians. What now? Huh? So we will turn a blind eye to, quote, irregularities if it'll mean the hotel sector will have a few more rooms and a few Bahamians will get cleaning
but that's
jobs.
Thirdly, though. That's at the bottom.
He didn't say that's the least important.
Well, he said it thirdly, so
third could be that could be ascending to the most important. And you better believe that is the most important one, Chester Robards.
Absolutely, I agree with you.
Thirdly, but not last, right? Or least, as they say. Last but not least.
Last but not least.
Okay.
How come we don't get to know what the irregularity was? Do we know?
No work permit. No, I have no idea. But it was cured.
What kind of
cured? By
what kind of irregularity is cured?
Can employers cure things? I mean, what are they doing now? They work in some.
What was cured? The concrete that they're using. That was curing.
I don't know. They got some medical licenses. They've got witchcraft. What are they curing? I don't know. Anyway, but it was cured. When pressed by reporters about specifics, right, regarding the irregularities, Chester, and whether he contacted immigration officers on the scene, Bell said he had more pressing matters to address. Because they last night found 275 regular migrants intercepted by the U.S. Coast Guard near Kisal area. That was pressing. And there are a lot of children in that group. Yeah. So that was more pressing. All right. What do you make of that? What do you make of that? Now, as a result of all this, Michael Pintard, in a statement, a few days ago, said that the Prime Minister needed to consider the impact of the decision regarding the Chinese workers. Pintard accused Bell of personal interference in the matter, but Bell did not say whether the decision taken was made by him, but he did say he was responding to stories in the press yesterday in which Pintard accused him of acting inappropriately.
We're not gonna take it.
Let's get your reaction to that, folks. 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Call us toll-free, 242-300-5720. And tweet us, Facebook us, text us, 422-4796. Let's take these calls really quickly. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, Dwight. Good morning, Chester, Seattle, and Johnson. Just let me first say on that is that I think what is happening now is that the Bell and the Progressive Liberal Party has lost sight of exactly who they work for, who they answer to. Bell pressing matters simply have the fact that Bell has taken on the position that he does everything personally in immigration as opposed to provide policy and direction to those that run the department. And I think the Prime Minister, it's time for the Prime Minister to rein him in. We must not forget this goes back to the previous PLP administration when he authorized individuals to get married inside of the jail. So the habit is continuation into the next. It says simply what you condone in one will be considered accepted in another. Dwight, but on the blacklisting, take the foot off our neck. If we only need to go back to I think the Secretary General, whatever it is, of the UE, whatever his title is, when he was questioned about 4 or 5 years ago as to when will they stop blacklisting the Bahamas, his exact quote, and you can find it, says, when they cease to exist. And so clearly they already told us what their position is when we cease to exist, they will stop blacklisting us. The problem is we continuously do the same thing. We take one step back and say, is this far enough? Is this far enough? We have not adjusted our banking and financial services, etc., for the 21st century. We continuously go stealthily under the secrecy when we, from constitutional standpoint, is privacy. We continuously go with this no tax when there's a low tax opportunity that's available there. So we somehow seem to be locked in the vortex of doing the same thing, expecting different results. We need to address the economic model we have to become that using technology in the 21st century to become direct competitors to what they are doing and become the solution for the problems they are putting forward. But again, what we have is 20th century leadership trying to embrace 19th century techniques to govern a 21st century country, and they would simply modify based on what their 5-year celebrity status information gives them, to modify it to fit a need for talking points. And this is why for everything that you have the government have, recognize they never answered a single question that the all leader of opposition answered. They haven't answered any questions since coming in, and they simply say, you will take what we tell you and deflect. Remember Alfred says, I would say Andres going down. Did y'all notice that that we have grain, we have solar cells and over here? And do you know we're going to be putting solar cells over there? And so they seem to begin to master the art of deflection, convolution, and conflation. But I think it's time for the Bahamian people to rally together and begin to checkmate those individuals that work for us and begin to let them know where the authority lies.
Okay. Thank you. All right. Thank you very much.
Where
Appreciate
the authority lies. We all got to stop pretending that we actually run our country.
Who's the we?
We, everybody.
You mean the citizens or?
Yeah.
Or okay. I mean, we know that we don't.
Do we know? Do we know that we don't?
Yeah. I mean, the way how everyone talks, they go, oh, they won't go for that. They won't. No, right. So obviously, but we should and we can, and we need to make those that we elect understand that too, right? That they're working for us and that we put them there to do certain things to benefit us. They go in there and do everything for everybody else.
You got me wrong. I'm
That's
not
not what you mean?
I mean, they also do not run.
Oh, that's what I was
country.
asking you. If you thought that they're also just puppets.
Of course they are.
Oh, well, that's a deeper story. Different story for another day. Yeah, that's disturbing. Let's take this call really quickly. We got to go to a break. Good morning, call you on the air.
Hey, good morning, Dwight and guest.
Hi.
Good morning, Dwight. One of the main reasons Minister Bell stated was that we need the rooms for the Hilton.
Well, British Colonial. Yeah, right? No more Hilton.
So, once again, it seems, Dwight, as though the laws in the Bahamas are made to discipline Bahamians, and the foreign nationals basically get a free ride. You know? So, once again, Dwight, from 1992, Bahamianization was buried. Okay? Bahamas is better than Bahamas for foreign nationals first and Bahamians second. It's only better. It's only in the Bahamas. That's all it is. Thank you, buddy. Have a good day.
And they sure do have fun in our country. Trust me. And they have a good time.
One more call, and then we got so let's read these messages as we go to the break. This person says here, can you do a show on solar panels so that we can know how the cost to install them? We'll do another
Maybe
one.
we could mention it.
Yeah, it might come up.
We've got the real deal here to talk about it. So,
but we'll do a special show. A lot of misconceptions out there, so we'll get to that.
Ain't no misconception but the cost. I'll tell you that much.
This person says, tell Keith Bell the existence of coconut trees offers potential employment opportunities for Bahamians. Were the irregularities overlooked because of the hotel renovation or because the workers were Chinese? Sounds like both. Both.
We don't run things.
Both things can be true. I guarantee you that there are more Chinese working here or there than Bahamians, and we turn a blind eye for every wrongdoing if a promise is made to employ a peasant, a.k.a. Bahamians. Will a Bahamian be in the top position at the hotel?
Maybe, like some top positions.
Depends on what you call the top position. Dwight, do you see Chinese go to the court? No, they pay for their round. I don't, do you understand what's happening here? Do you see Chinese go to court? No, they pay for their round.
Pay for their round?
I don't know what that means. Okay. Did Pindar forget when they were in power under Menace? The same thing happened when there were more Chinese than Bahamians, and they swept it under the rug. These guys really think we're fools.
Yeah,
Okay. Maybe it did. So what? Because it happened under them, then it should continue to happen under everybody else. They should get a chance to do it too. That's what we're saying, yeah? They were kicked out of office because nobody wanted them, right? So we don't expect the people who replace them to do the same foolishness they did.
Yeah.
No? Or they should get a chance to do foolishness until everybody's even. Which one? Okay. And this one, to address C. Allen, what does he propose that we do as a country? Do we have to import the tech from the same countries that are trying to strangle us? Okay. And this message here. So we allow the irregularities at the British colonial because we want hotel rooms, a.k.a. corruption. Notice no mention of the irregularities, a.k.a. corruption. That's why after 50 years, we are not much further economically and socially than in 1973. Yeah, wow. Okay, well. Let's take a break on that note. When we come back, we are going to be talking about BPL and those bills and how high were yours and what can we do? Can we do anything about it? Do we just have to take it? Do we have to just pay this fuel surcharge and just, well, that's how it is? That's what they did to us and that's just the way the cookie crumbles? Or is there something else that can be done?
If you want your air conditioner to be on.
This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Stay with us.
Be there in my tow truck, get you rolling right. The headlights them getting dim, I'll work them all night. Lady get your flat, run over a bump. She asked could you fix my tire in the air in your pump. Well I take out my pump, but I leave the patch at the shop. So I put my mouth on the hole and blow she tire up. I'm the bush mechanic. Just call me, I'll be right on it. No bother you, fret now panic. Just call on the bush mechanic. They call me the bush mechanic.
This is Guardian Radio, 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
I'm Rita Foley with an AP News Minute. June was the hottest month on record, according to the UN's World Meteorological Organization, looking at preliminary global figures. And in Phoenix, Tuesday was the 19th consecutive day temperatures hit at least 110 degrees. Victor Gensini is a meteorology professor at Northern Illinois University, and he says, yeah, this is a big deal.
It is a big deal at any given day, at any given location, if you're setting a record, right? That's what a record is. You've never experienced or at least measured that particular weather phenomena or variable at that location ever. And yes, it's possible that it has happened before at that location, but it's never been measured, right? And that's the key.
Women who sued Texas after saying they were denied abortions despite serious risks to their health are headed to court today. The Texas Attorney General's office has argued the women lack standing to sue. I'm Rita Foley.
Time for your first look at traffic for the morning, brought to you by RBC. Get in gear with an RBC Auto Loan in your real-time traffic so far this morning. Blue Hill Road's looking kind of busy for you this morning. Just north of Carmichael, you see that heavy traffic heading toward Independence Drive, northbound. Mile Butler Highway not looking so bad. Just as you get north of Harold Pond in the northbound lanes, you'll see that line of traffic heading northbound to Tawny Williams-Darling Highway. But it's Tawny Williams-Darling Highway that's backed up this morning westbound to that roundabout. Glaston Road's a better alternate route for you. Just near Munnings Road, you'll see that traffic northbound to JFK. At East Street, various spots looking a little busy for you, like Bamboo Boulevard and near Soldier Road, and northbound on the way to the roundabout with East-West Highway and Independence Drive. Robbins Road building traffic between Soldier and Old Trail. Soldier Road looking busy at that intersection with Robinson and Prince Charles as well. That's your real-time traffic. We'll have another update for you in a few minutes. Morning Blend traffic brought to you by RBC. Visit rbc.com/Caribbean/gear up for an RBC auto loan. We'll be back with more Morning Blend after the news.
That's the sound of your car or truck. That's the sound of your horn. Get in gear with an auto loan. RBC makes it easy to get your own.
Get in gear with an RBC auto loan with up to 100% financing, extended repayment, and low interest rates. Visit rbc.com/Caribbean/gear up. Conditions apply.
That's the sound of your car or truck. That's the sound of your horn. Get in gear with an auto loan. RBC makes it easy to get your own.
We're gonna give you a check every week for a year.
Percy's pension plan. Island game, keep you winning. Percy's pension plan. Dream big, we will help you live it. Percy's pension plan. Island game, we got you. Percy's pension plan. From the friends you can trust. If winning is a must, come play the game you know, cause your best chance is with us. The most trustworthy name is Percy's Island Game. So put 20 on your account and ride this easy train at Percy's Island Game.
Welcome back to Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. We're streaming live on GuardianTalkRadio.com and on the Guardian Radio app for smart devices. We're also on your televisions on Cable Bahamas Channel 969 and BTC Flow Channel 612. You can tweet us at Morning Blend 969 or Facebook.com/Morning Blend 969. Text us on the Guardian Radio text line powered by BTC 422-4796. Standard text rates apply. And now at 8:20, it's time for another check of your weather for today, brought to you by Bahamas First Insurance. Here's what's happening. We've got moderate to strong breezes that they're going to hover over the central and southeast Bahamas due to the strengthening high-pressure ridge over the area, and a westward-moving tropical wave near the northwest and central Bahamas will trigger some unsettled weather as it moves away from the area. So for today, for the northwest Bahamas, look for variably cloudy and hot conditions, with scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms across extreme northwest Bahamas. Partly cloudy, hot, and humid, with isolated showers and thunderstorms over the remaining islands. Gusty winds and higher seas will happen in or near heavy showers and thunderstorms. For the central and southeast Bahamas, mostly sunny, hot, and breezy to windy, with widely scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms, mainly across the central Bahamas, becoming heavy with thunderstorms strong to severe at times. Hazy conditions expected as well over the southeast Bahamas. Small craft advisory now in effect. Got a number of warnings. There's a heightened probability of water spout activity, and mariners are being asked to remain cautious about that. And beachgoers in the central and southeast Bahamas as well should be aware that there could be rip currents along east and south coast beaches. Everybody's being advised to remain hydrated as we're expecting another day of triple-digit heat indices and limit outdoor sun activity. And we've got a plume of Saharan dust moving into the area, and that's going to gradually spread across the country. And so if you have respiratory issues, be extra careful outside as well. Temperatures getting up to around 93 Fahrenheit, 34 Celsius, but the heat index will make it feel like it's 107 Fahrenheit, 42 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight getting down to a very warm 82 Fahrenheit, 28 Celsius. In extended outlook, high pressure will be the main weather feature across the country, promoting breezy conditions over the central and southeast Bahamas, while that plume of Saharan dust will reduce the chance of rain, but it will also limit air quality over the next few days into the weekend. So for Thursday, tomorrow, mostly sunny, hot and hazy with a chance of isolated showers, breezy in the central and southeastern islands. Friday, sunny, hot, humid, and hazy. In the tropics, tropical storm Dawn now. Dawn moving slowly southward and expected to turn westward again over the central Atlantic as it continues its circular spin out in the middle of nowhere. As of 5 o'clock, Dawn was about 740 miles west-southwest of the Azores. Dawn is moving towards south near 5 miles per hour. The storm will then turn to the west tonight or Thursday, and then northwest again on Friday and increase its forward speed. Maximum sustained winds are near 40 miles per hour. Little change in strength is forecast, though. But after the next couple of days, there could be an increase in intensity. But again, Dawn, no threat to anybody, just out there spinning, going in circles in the Atlantic. That's your morning blend weather check, brought to you by Bahamas First Insurance. Visit firstonlineinsurance.com and select a Bahamas First agent to purchase, pay, or renew your car or home insurance 100% online, or just stop by any Bahamas First agent. Bahamas First, celebrating 40 years as the first Bahamian general insurance company. What's first for you comes first for us. And time for another check of your traffic for this morning, brought to you by RBC. Get in gear with an RBC auto loan. In your real-time traffic this morning, again, Blue Hill Road, very busy for you this morning, especially near Carmichael and just north of Soldier Road. That junction there looking very busy as you head northbound to Independence Drive in the roundabout there. Tonic Williams-Darling Highway at various spots on the way to the roundabout with Bahamas Games Boulevard. Seeing a bit of congestion there. Things looking better as you get closer to Milo Butler Highway. But Milo Butler Highway is getting busier for you now as well. Northbound, just south of Harold Pond. You'll see that in the northbound lanes for you. Gladstone Road still a better alternate route for you. Just near Munnings Road will you see that building traffic northbound to JFK Drive. Speaking of JFK Drive, as you approach the six-legged roundabout on JFK Drive, you're going to see a long line of traffic in front of you from the roundabout in front of the Ministry of Works straight up to the six-legged roundabout. So that is looking busier than normal at this hour. And West Bay Street, a bit of congestion on your way to Arawak Key if you're heading eastbound this morning. That's what we're looking at. Those are your hot spots. That's your real-time traffic and your morning blend traffic alert, brought to you by RBC. Visit rbc.com/Caribbean/gear up for an RBC auto loan.
A lot of folks are wondering, what is the Agrarian Awards? It's an award show to celebrate the people who produce the food that feeds the country. So September 16th, we're giving out trophies and money to young farmers, backyard farmers, sheep runners, goat herders, pea pickers, onion planters, basically everyone. But we couldn't fit all that on the invite, so we put Agrarian Awards instead. Go to adobahamas.org to find out how to nominate your favorite agrarian. The Agrarian Awards, September 16th.
The Bahamas Public Parks and Public Beaches Authority invites all private companies and civic organizations to adopt a roundabout. This is your chance to stand out from the crowd, beautify and enhance our local areas for residents and tourists alike, just in time for the 50th anniversary of our independence. With this opportunity, you can engage persons on the go, generate media interest, and promote your company. Stand out and celebrate 50. For more information, you can call 242-604-3750.
Indulge in an experience that awakens your senses with Nescafe Gold. Premium Arabica coffee beans, carefully selected, roasted to perfection, and finely ground, resulting in a unique and unmatched flavor and aroma that captivates the senses. Enticing aroma, smooth taste. Elevate your coffee experience with Nescafe Gold.
We go everywhere. Shop early at Janae's Chesapeake Road annual back-to-school sale going on now. Get up to 20% off on all school items in stock. Yes, all school items in stock. Shirts, jumpers, skirts, boys' long and short pants, school neckties, PE shorts, in a variety of colors and school monograms. Shop early and don't miss out at Janae's Uniform Center Chesapeake Road's annual back-to-school sale going on now. Remember, we go everywhere. Beat the rush and save, save, save at Janae's annual sale now.
Summer your way with Scotiabank. Apply for a Scotia Plan loan this summer and open the doors to your dream destination, the perfect home renovation, or prep for back to school, and so much more. Enjoy competitive rates, flexible loan terms, and no payments for up to 2 months. Use your plan loan to unlock your perfect summer break. Apply for your Scotia Plan loan today and have summer your way with Scotiabank. Visit bs.scotiabank.com or call 242-356-1697 for further details.
Wherever you're headed, the Custom Computers Know-How team is standing by to help guide you in the East and the West. We now have 2 convenient locations on Patton Street in Palmdale and our newest store in the Caves Village Shopping Plaza through the Blake Road entrance. Discover the latest products by top international brands and the knowledge you need to unleash tomorrow's technology today. Drop by Custom Computers out east or out west. We're open Saturdays from 10 till 4.
When faced with an illness like cancer, we band together, and we at Cleveland Clinic in Florida have your back. From advanced cancer treatments to extra safety measures at all of our locations, we're with you on this journey for every infusion and follow-up, for every step of the way, for every care in the world. Cleveland Clinic in Florida. Get the care you need when and where you need it. To learn more or connect with a local representative, visit clevelandclinic.org/Caribbean.
Total Auto Care on Howard Road offers fast, quality auto maintenance at the very best prices. Tune-ups, oil changes, brakes, suspension, wheel alignments, radiators, water pump replacements, and more. Need quality brand name tires for your vehicle? Tires that'll stand up to these roads? No worries. We supply Michelin, BF Goodrich, Bridgestone, Pirelli, and Toyo. We'll import them fast and install them for you at no extra cost. So when your car needs maintenance or quality tires, we're on Howard Road, just before Burger King. Come see us. Total Auto Care. Call us at 341-6599 or 341-2350.
The Access Accelerator Small Business Development Center is here to help small businesses throughout the entire Bahamas. To better serve you, we've made it easier to contact us. Call 461-7232, WhatsApp 359-0626 or 359-2394, email helpdesk@spdcbahamas.com, or submit a ticket when you visit our help center at accessaccelerator.org. The Access Accelerator, empowering small business.
Fidelity, we're good for you.
Shopping is so rewarding with my Fidelity credit card. I get the best prices with price protection. Earn and redeem freedom points at my favorite stores. Get cash back. Plus, I booked a cruise. Get your Fidelity credit card today. Call 356-7764.
That's the sound of your car or truck. That's the sound of your horn. Get in gear with an auto loan. RBC makes it easy to get your own.
Get in gear with an RBC auto loan with up to 100% financing, extended repayment, and low interest rates. Visit rbc.com/Caribbean/gear up. Conditions apply.
That's the sound of your car or truck. That's the sound of your horn. Get RBC makes it easy to get your own.
Take some advice from your Aunt Angie. If you want to go scuba diving on your vacation, don't bedazzle your wetsuit. And you think you look great, but what you don't realize is that you look like a shiny, scaly fish. And it won't take long for a shark to notice you. Next thing you know, you're busting out every karate move you got. But if you're smart, you'll have CG medical insurance and get airlifted out to the closest hospital.
Get coverage for emergency evacuations. CG Atlantic Medical and Life Insurance. Good like that. All benefits are subject to policy provisions, including eligibility at the time of service.
There's a new electric vehicle in town. The Jack brand of SUVs, trucks, sedans, and commercial vans. Available only at Easy Car Sales, home of the fully electric vehicle. For a powerful, smooth ride at a fraction of the cost to drive, leave the pump behind and hit the road with Jack. Visit easy242.com to see our brand new Jack models and drop into Easy Car Sales for a test drive. It'll have you singing. Hit the road with Jack, and don't you pump gas no more.
Indulge in an experience that awakens your senses with Nescafe Gold. Premium Arabica coffee beans, carefully selected, roasted to perfection, and finely ground, resulting in a unique and unmatched flavor and aroma that captivates the senses. Enticing aroma, smooth taste. Elevate your coffee experience with Nescafe Gold.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
My name is Sam, and I don't mean no harm. He said with a blink, please buy me a drink. My pocket's out of sync. I'll tell you a story, let's take a walk. Let's talk old talk. Was raining one morning as I was walking. I heard the froggies talk. He said
Welcome back to Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan along with Chester Robards. And as promised, we've been talking about this for a couple of days. We are going to try to understand these BPL bills and where we are and if there's anything you can do about it. Everybody's been complaining about the shocking, skyrocketing bills that we're seeing each month, higher than the month before. Here to help us, Debbie Deal is with us. We love Debbie. Debbie, I don't know if you can help us to make any sense of this all, but welcome. Great to have you with us. Great to have you in the show this morning.
I always get the tough jobs.
Yeah, right.
Nothing. I never get an easy job.
All right, so let's give people some understanding. You previously were a part of a group with BPL on a committee. Is that right? What can you tell us about? Well, tell us about what you were doing before, maybe the chamber and.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. So I sat on the board at the Chamber of Commerce and Employers Confederation for 6 years as the director for energy and environment. And prior to that, I sat on it for 2 years with Romeo Ferrer, and then 1 year with Melanie Roach. So 9 years in total.
Right.
And then now I am with the Bahamian Contractors Association. Well, I've been a contractor for 40 years, so it makes sense that I'm there, basically doing the same thing, and climate and environment.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
So, and of course, I've been dealing with BPL for a long time, and there was so many issues, an RFP that went out that had addendums to it back in 2016 that created all kinds of havoc. And there's been a lot of things that have happened with BPL over the years. And the thing that's most frustrating for me is I still, and again, you and I had this conversation off air, it doesn't matter. It's not just summer that this happens. I remember 38 years ago, Christmas Day, my husband and I were in the yard and we had some soil delivered, so we were raking the soil because we didn't have to be to his cousins until like 1 o'clock for lunch. And as soon as we go inside to shower, because we're full of mud, power goes off. And the power is off the entire day. This is 38 years ago, Christmas Day.
Right.
So what's happening now, there can't possibly be any excuse for 38 years of exactly the same thing going on.
Yeah.
Why are all of these problems coming up? What is the issue that all of these things keep happening?
Right.
That's where we need to look at.
And I keep telling people it's not just the summer when we have issues.
It is
it's
not.
any time of year.
It
All
is
year
not.
round.
It
Sunny
is
days,
not.
rainy days, windy days.
Yes.
Hot days, cold days.
It doesn't matter.
Yes.
All right. The bills. Now, we knew this was going to happen because we were warned that the fuel hedge had, the terms had changed. They say they're still doing some hedging, but the terms have changed from the rates they had before. And so things were going to be different. And we were warned that things were going to get high and for a long period of time, at least a year, maybe into 2 years. That's what they've been saying. Can you imagine?
Right.
But it's still shocking. Last month was the first month when we noticed it, and I told people about it. I looked at my bill. The consumption part was only about $100, but the fuel charge was $220.
It's totally insane, to be perfectly honest. I can't even explain it any other way than that. If you look at research globally the price of diesel, right? The price of diesel has gone up, and it went up as of like last October. If you look on the graphs, you'll see it spikes, right? It spikes up in October, and now it's going back down again, right? But in October, I have my handy little list right here. In October, let me see, October 22, let me see, it was at 0.23 cents extra for the fuel surcharge, right? But now my bill is 0.461 cents, so 46 cents a kilowatt over and above the actual use of your of the consumption. And the same, we discussed this earlier, my bill was like 200 and something, but with the fuel surcharge last month it was like 500 and something, and this year it's up to 600 and something dollars. And it's mostly it's more than half of the actual bill itself. It's something like 70% over the actual amount. Imagine this now. Imagine, we know that you just did the news and the weather, and you said that it will be in the triple digits, right?
Heat index,
in the heat index, okay. It's not getting cooler.
No.
We hear about persons in Europe that are dying from the heat because they're not used to it. Some countries don't even have air conditioning because they've never had it before. They've never had these kind of temperatures before. We've known for years that it's not getting cooler. You know, a summer day used to be 79 to 82, 83. Yeah. Now it's 90-something. It never seems to get lower than that. We are going to have a huge problem with our young children because they don't know enough not to, stay out of the sun. For persons that are older, for persons that have disabilities, we are really in a health crisis in this country. And now that the bills are going so high, who could possibly afford? Truthfully, if you look at your bill and look at the time when you don't use your air conditioner, you can basically keep under the fuel surcharge, right? But who can actually do that these days? If you go home and your house has been locked up all day, you can open the windows all you want to, but if the wind isn't blowing, that hot air is not going anywhere. Right. The only thing people can really do now is just get in a car and go to the sea and have a swim, cool yourself down, and then go back to your home. But these are dire situations for the persons that are living in this country.
Yeah. Wow. All right. So, is there anything we can do? It just seems so unfair. The consumption part, again, so small compared to the fuel charge on your bills.
Well, from what I understand, we had the fuel surcharge when it was down to 10 cents, 10 cents. And then after that went up, I think it was in 22, the government said that they would let it go for another year. Even though they weren't hedging, they would keep the price the same. So they were paying higher prices for their fuel during that time. And then it got to the point, from what I'm understanding, is that now they, let me go back. BPL is not a profit-making company. I don't mean it. I don't mean they don't make profit. I'm just meaning they're not in the business to make a huge profit.
Right.
They are basically their mandate is to provide safe, reliable, cost-efficient energy to the population.
Right.
So if they've gotten to the point now where they're not collecting enough funds to be able to provide the energy that they need to provide, then they have the right to actually add on what is necessary to actually be able to produce the energy that they need for us. So with giving us that option of a year, extending it, may have been one of the things that has created the issue with the higher fuel costs for them, and now the burden of having to actually provide energy where we have all of these high costs. And then, of course, I know in the news there was something like 170 million, I think it was, I could be wrong, forgive me if I am, where the bills, they hadn't collected the bills, right? And I think they collected like maybe 70,000 of it, but there's still 70 million of it, but there's still another 100 million. So these are things that if this was a regular limited business, right, your customers would leave. They would leave in droves.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
They would leave in droves. But we are stuck here in this country, in this little island. We don't have another energy company. And I don't even know when IRCA does its investigations, are they going to find that maybe we need another energy company here in New Providence that maybe is not owned by government, that is maybe not governed by cabinet? I mean, you have in Grand Bahama, you have an energy company that's from Canada, right?
Yeah.
I don't think they're governed by cabinet, right? So maybe these are things that these are long-term things, or things that government and IRCA could actually request, talk about, or do, right? But the things that what can we do as the population? We've been on the radio for how long talking about LED light bulbs, 20 SEER central air systems. Don't buy a 13 SEER because it's not going to do icing in your attic. I mean, we've talked about all of these things that we have done to reduce our own energy bills, which we all have seen. Anybody who's actually done that has seen our bills go down and down and down so that we could it's bearable for us, right? Yes, the government is doing all of this so that they can have, they're helping persons who want to do alternative energy by giving the two different types of lithium batteries are coming. You can bring them in duty free now. They're doing all those kind of things. But at some point in time, if you really want us to go solar, and the bills are super high, so yes, now everybody's thinking, okay, well, I want something on my roof that's going to get that sun to get me energy because I don't want to do this anymore. Not only do I not want to do this and pay this, I'm sick and tired of my electricity going off 4 days in a row. I'm sick and tired of having a home office that I have no internet when the power goes off. I'm tired of it. It doesn't work. I've worked from home forever. I've never had an outside office, but now with the small medium business things that we're really pushing persons to work from home and be more creative in how you work. But look at North Andros. Has nothing to do with our situation, but their situation, the fire. Here they had everything that they needed to have this great event that they were going to have for the 50th anniversary, and they were running around trying to find ice and stuff to keep all of their fish and everything. I mean, it's just devastating. It's devastating, and then it also annoys me that you hear the minister talk about in cabinet. In Parliament, that we're BPL we produce 275 megawatts, or we have the capacity of 275 megawatts. We only need 200. We're only using 235, and we're producing power for the point and the port. But what about us?
Right.
We're the ones who work in these places.
Yeah.
We're the ones who have to get ready.
That annoyed
for-
everybody.
Yes.
Everybody was
Why
annoyed
would
by
you
that.
say that? I mean, yes, you could be proud of that, but for gosh sakes, when everybody else's power is out, when we're looking at a bill that's 3 times higher than we've ever had, what solutions can we have now besides all of the things that we've done besides solar? So you know what? Why don't you give us a break? Why don't you say, if we go solar, right, you will let us put everything back on the grid. Let us put everything back on the grid so that you don't your engines don't have to generators don't have to produce as much energy because we will actually provide that, right? Let us.
They have started that.
Oh
haven't
no,
they?
there is,
They-
but
you can
but
do
it's
that.
only a certain. You can't do it all.
Right.
You can only.
You're limited in how much you can give
You're
back to the
limited,
grid.
yeah, to what you can give back to the grid. So give us a break. Let us do something like this, right? Where we could actually it could make it worth our while, or give us another advantage where you speak to local Bahamian banks and let them finance alternative energy. They don't. They will do some, but it's very rare. It's not like an electric car, because an electric car, it's easy to repossess. You just go pick it up, take it, right? But what are you going to do with the things on the roof? How are you going to get rid of those? How are you going to take those off, right? How are you going to go inside to get the inverter? Who's going to go in and get the batteries? I mean, it's a little bit more tedious, in trying to do that. But help us. Help us. And give us a time frame. How long is this going to work? Because I'll tell you what, there's going to be a lot of people who aren't going to be paying their bills anymore. They're not going to be able to pay their bill. And, we're talking about so many people that, if you look at the amount of people we have living under the poverty line, how are we going to do this?
And I told you off here the mistake I made because my bill was so high last month, I left a balance. And that balance on top of my higher bill this month pushed me over the VAT threshold. And now I'm paying VAT for the first time on my electricity bill in years.
Oh, man.
I've never had to do that. Well,
your bill is low then.
No, it's not low. But now it's very high.
They raised it this year to 400. Right. Isn't it 400 now?
Yeah.
Yeah, 400
Or
and
is it
under.
5? Is it up to 5? I think they went even higher.
Oh, did they?
Anyway, it's 4 or 5.
I think it's 4. Yeah, I
4
think
or
it's 4
5.
for
But
sure.
I'm definitely in that territory.
Yeah,
now.
I mean that's
not cool.
that helped a lot because when you're paying the extra 46 cents a kilowatt and then you're paying 10% of your bill on top of that because it's the bill with the fuel surcharge and your energy consumption. So you're just it's like a triple whammy.
So this month with the fuel surcharge and the VAT, that alone was $330 of my bill.
Yeah, mine was 432.
For what? Just the fuel surcharge?
Fuel surcharge, and my bill was 220.
Wow.
Yeah, my bill was
220.
168.
Yeah, yeah. And the
This
thing
is crazy.
It's crazy. So I have another building on my property, and I did all the things that I talk about. I put in central air in it because it's something that I rent out, and I put in a 5-ton in the living room's larger area and a 3-ton in the other area, and they're both 20 SEER. So when you don't use the power, when you don't use any energy, when you don't use the air conditioning, hang on, my mouth is not working today. It's just doing something else.
It's the PPL stress.
It must be. It must be. Well, so the first month, which was January. Where is January? Hang on a second. I've got it. Okay, so March is my first bill here. The bill was $38. That's without the air conditioners. Then the next month with the air conditioners, the bill went up to $37, $57, $62. Using the air conditioners.
That's your total bill?
That's the total bill.
Wow.
Using the 2 air conditioners,
Okay.
right? But with the fuel surcharge, it's $74, right? And now this month, hang on a second, what month? Which is this the one? So now we're up to $94 because it's fuel surcharge. I mean, even on a small bill, it's a ridiculous amount of money.
I imagine you have one of the most efficient houses going too.
Pretty much, because it's ridiculous. I just can't do it any other way. I mean, I remember back in 2008 when the last time when the fuel was ridiculously high. I think the fuel surcharge, I got it here, was 19 cents, 191 cents in 2008. And my bill was ridiculous. It was at a time when I had air conditioning in the house, and The bill was $2,000, and all I could do was laugh. I had no idea how I was going to pay it. It went from
Wow.
like $1,000
Yeah.
to $2,000. I had no idea how I was possibly going to pay it.
See, I'm, and I don't want to say I'm encouraging Bahamians to do foolishness, right? But I'm just amazed at how calm we all are, and we're having this rational discussion. But this is not something we did.
No,
This is not fair.
No, it's
And
not.
I
It's
don't think we should
not.
just sit back and allow this to be foisted upon us. All right,
You're
we just
absolutely
can't
right.
just take this.
Like I said before, if this was a regular company, a regular limited company, you would not be able to do this.
Mm-hmm.
The bank would not continue to give you overdraft facility.
Mhm, mhm.
That is not the case here because it is it is run by government.
Mm-hmm.
It's like government is the rich dad. I've said this before on air. And BPL is the teenager that is just out of control, that's constantly spending money and getting himself into him or her into trouble, and going to dad and say, bail me out, bail me out, bail me out. And that's constantly what's happening. And this is not right.
Yeah.
I don't understand. Over the years, you've had so many different managers and boards of directors. And the same thing keeps happening over and over and over. Nothing gets changed. There's a lot of talk about it getting changed, but then a year down the road, you can go back where we've had conversations about the same thing has happened and then nothing has changed. There has to be better management. I don't understand why IRCA, because they are the ones who have to look at this company, it has to be safe, reliable, cost effective, right? And again, because IRCA is also controlled by government, it makes it very difficult. I mean, everybody's kind of like, we want to do this, but we can't because we have all of these constraints.
Yeah.
And
It's
we have
madness.
to somehow policies and regulations for the energy company have to change because I'll tell you what, Grand Bahama's not going through the crap that we're going through.
No, I'm class action lawsuit. Something
That
needs
was
to
just
be done,
what I was going
right?
to say.
And
We
when
need an
lawyers are
enterprising
talking,
lawyer and law firm.
come on,
For a
folks.
class action suit.
Can you imagine a year of this? And it's at least a year.
Well, they were saying, Mr. Cambridge said, I think it was 2 years
Right.
that he figures it's going to
right.
last.
The glide path.
2 years. Let's take this call really quickly. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, Dwight.
Hi.
And your guest. What's the lady's name again?
Debbie Deal's with us this morning.
Who?
Debbie Deal.
Hi, Debbie. How you doing? This is Sparky.
Hi, Sparky.
You know, Dwight, years ago, that Debbie was talking about this thing. You know, we just doing is talking the same thing over and over and over.
I even went to Sparky's
There's
house.
years ago, Debbie was talking, but she even been down to my house one time in Pride State, walked through, and told me some of the little tips of what I could do to conserve energy. And I really use very little. I'm retired. I use very little during the day other than the radio that comes on with the internet. My fridge is on, and maybe a fan. Everything else is cut off. What I'm not using, it's off. You got people go to work, and they leave things on when they go to work. And they burn electricity all day while they're in somebody else's building. And Debbie's been talking this, for years, and we're talking the same thing yet. You know, all of this goes right down to the power of man. Remember the gentleman told you about the Romans were the ones that crucified Christ? Now the Roman Catholic Church is one of the richest doggone organizations in the world. The same people that crucified the Son of God are the richest people in the world. And that's what's going on right now on our earth today. It's about the greed of man and power of money. The more money you get, the more power you want, and you don't care how many people die of starvation, you know. You go on somebody gives you, take this analogy, you might be, I don't know if you can understand. Somebody gives you a banana sucker, free. You plant it in your yard, next year you got a bunch of bananas, you can't eat all yourself. So you decide to keep half and sell half. You didn't do nothing to that banana tree other than put it in the ground. You didn't water it, God watered it with the rain. You didn't do nothing to make it grow. You did nothing physically other than cut the banana down. But then you decide to put it in a shop and sell it. How do you determine whether the banana costs $1 or $5?
Yeah. All right, Sparky. This is these are rough times. When we come back, we're going to hear from you all about your bills. People are already texting us what their bills jumped from and to, and we'll talk more about that with Debbie D when we get back. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9.
Was raining one morning as I was walking.
Don't let go of your chance to win big with Alive on 700 Wines and Spirits. We've got an exclusive promotion just for you. Purchase 3 or more refreshing Click Rattlers and pair them with our Freedom 12 plan or higher at 700 Wines and Spirits. To enter the contest, simply write your name and phone number on the front of your receipt. Then snap a photo of your receipt and WhatsApp it to 242-805-7511. This promotion ends July 31st, 2023. Terms and conditions apply. Alive. Believe in best.
It's been 35 years since Custom Computers was founded, and we'd like to celebrate that milestone by thanking you, our clients and customers. You've inspired 35 years of expert service and support, partnering with the world's leading brands like HP, Apple, and Microsoft. We take pride in setting the bar for what you expect and deserve from a homegrown Bahamian business. We're here to serve you when you need us, so call 396-1101. Custom Computers, raising the standard since 1987.
Summer your way with Scotiabank. Apply for a Scotia Plan loan this summer and open the doors to your dream destination, the perfect home renovation, or prep for back to school, and so much more. Enjoy competitive rates, flexible loan terms, and no payments for up to 2 months. Use your plan loan to unlock your perfect summer break. Apply for your Scotia Plan loan today and have summer your way with Scotiabank. Visit bs.scotiabank.com or call 242-356-1697 for further details.
Total Auto Care on Howard Road offers fast, quality auto maintenance at the very best prices. Tune-ups, oil changes, brakes, suspension, wheel alignments, radiators, water pump replacements, and more. Need quality brand name tires for your vehicle, tires that'll stand up to these roads? No worries. We supply Michelin, BF Goodrich, Bridgestone, Pirelli, and Toyo. We'll import them fast and install them for you at no extra cost. So when your car needs maintenance or quality tires, we're on Howard Road, just before Burger King. Come see us. Total Auto Care. Call us at 341-6599 or 341-2350.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
We got some jokey leaders in a jokey town. A three-ring circus, what a bunch of clowns. They're joking and they're jiving, but they're messing around. We got some jokey leaders, what a bunch of clowns.
Yeah, we are back here with Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strong with the Chester Robards. We're talking with Debbie Deal about the power issues and these high bills that we've received, the fuel surcharge. And again, this is all because of decisions the government made. This is why our bills have jumped. Some people double, triple. And I'm telling you, the Bahamian people have to be applauded because they are complaining, but they appear to be paying it and dealing with it. But as we read to you every morning, in other countries, they wouldn't take this. They wouldn't take this. And everybody would express how angry they are at this nonsense. And again, we have maybe 2 years of these elevated bills because of stupid decisions that our leaders made. This is insanity.
That's the reason for your mentioning a class action lawsuit.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't understand
also,
how we can sit back and take this.
The problem is going to be, like Debbie mentioned, that the corporation is responsible for safe, reliable power, right? Cost-effective power.
Right.
And,
that is their mandate.
Right. And if you don't pay your bill or you refuse to pay part of it because you don't think it's fair, they cut your electricity off.
Of course.
Right away now. Like you said, sometimes
it used to be 3 and 4 months before they would even think of sending you a notice, and now it's
they're threatening
because of my balance I left last month.
They're threatening you.
I've been
Within
told
a
that if
month.
I don't pay that by August,
within a month,
I'm off.
Yeah, they'll cut your power.
Yeah,
and then what does that open you up to, right? As a Bahamian citizen, you could get sick from the heat.
They don't care.
You're gonna lose the stuff that's in your fridge. You can't.
This is blackmail.
It is blackmail.
It's blackmail.
And
We're being held.
And it's unfair because they're not providing cost-effective electricity.
Right. Well, what annoys me,
or reliable,
that too.
They have all of these outstanding bills that have not been paid, right? But they still allow the way that they send their bills out. They send their bills out after you've used the power, right? So this is not, they can't go back and repossess something. It's not
Mm-hmm.
like you've gone and bought a refrigerator from a furniture store and you didn't pay, so you were going to come and take your refrigerator back. You cannot get something that isn't tangible.
Yeah.
So they should, in my estimation, I would be sending out a bill. Your bill that you get at the beginning of August will be for August. Because they know how much your bill is going to be. They have what it was last year, and then they could give you a credit if you don't use as much or something like that,
Yeah.
right? Or for gosh sakes, give us all prepaid meters.
Yeah,
Let
what
us
happened
all
to that? That was a
power
big
up.
discussion a couple of years ago.
Oh, they've been
Where
here.
did things?
They've been here forever. They said they had to try them out in
they
a
actually have
grid.
them?
They've been here for like 12, 13 years.
Hmm?
They've
Why
been
not?
here for like 12, 13 years.
The smart meters.
Years?
They're on the ground.
Yes, back in 2017, when we met the minister at the chamber, the chamber went to the minister to meet Bannister when he was in power of the ministry of. We asked about when are they going to start using them. At that time, they had them here like 6 years, and they said that they wanted to try them in a location with a grid, so they were going to do it in Spanish Wells, but that never materialized. I don't think Spanish Wells would allow anything like that to happen there because, of course, their power company, after Andrew, the government didn't help them any, so they basically put everything in themselves. So that power plant that's there, they personally paid for themselves. So that never happened. And then now Minister Sears is talking about smart meters and that kind of thing. I don't know if it's the same things, and I don't know if that's what they're talking about, but they have to try them out in a location. What do you mean you have to try them out? Why don't we all have prepaid meters and let us do our own paying of bills so that we can actually pay it ourselves? We don't even have to leave the house. You just get on your telephone and you add $20 to your bill or $100 to your bill, right? And you don't even have to worry about what's going on. If you see the bill going up, you can't do much about the fuel surcharge, right? Because that was something that they'd have to send in at a later date. Maybe that's the problem why they haven't done it. How do they figure out how to put the fuel surcharge in when it's only on what your meter actually reads, right? But I mean, let us do something. Let us have a little bit of control, because right now we have no control.
All right, folks, let's hear from you. Tell us about your bills, your experiences, what you're going through, and the impact. I mean, can you handle this? Can you do this for 2 years? Oh boy, 323-6232, 325-4316. 325-4259. Call us toll free. We want to hear from the Family Islands as well. 242-300-5720. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us 422-4796.
Because not only is it the cost of your electricity and the fuel surcharge that you have to pay, people who also have a backup generator that they purchased that they also have to maintain and put fuel in, right? A lot of businesses have these, and they're automatically they have an automatic transfer switch so that you don't lose any business, and your computers don't go down, so that you can not make sales and that kind of thing,
using
right?
that more and more than ever.
So you have your own. You have this bill that you have to pay, this supply, and then you have your own supply that you have to provide, right? So you're actually paying twice as much for power. And this supplier is not giving you the supply you need, so you have to bring in your own supply.
And everybody's telling you have to have a generator. That company is getting worse and worse every single month.
And that doesn't help us with what the Prime Minister is going around the world talking about climate change and how it's affecting us, and how we are the ones that are being victims because of other persons that are not paying attention to greenhouse gas emissions. But I have to have a backup generator that is diesel because I really can't afford solar right now. Well, I don't have a roof either to put it on because I have red clay tiles on my roof, so I can't put it on my roof. I don't have. What am I going to do? It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
It just does not make sense. I would like to have solar, and then I wouldn't have to rely on anybody. That isn't the case. So now we're doubling up on our greenhouse gas emissions, whereas unless you can do solar, that's what you're going to do. You're going to have a small little generator that you're going to use.
Okay.
I need you to bring two guests on, right, to talk about BPL as well. I need BPL or Urca to talk about who owes me money for the milk that's spoiled in my fridge, right? And possibly, again, electronics that are lost from power outages and stuff like that. They need to talk about that again.
Okay.
And then I need you to bring the lawyer on to talk about this case we have
Yeah.
For this lawsuit.
We're waiting for BPL. BPL, they've promised they'll be on, and we're hoping that will happen.
Okay.
So we're getting some messages. It's not going to be
Good.
2 years. It's going to be just maybe a year, and by next
Starting
year
when?
she'll start to.
Starting when?
Let's see. The peak will be November of this year, and by early next year, it'll come down a little bit.
Down to what, though?
You look at that.
So
see if you can make sense of that.
So the minister said the cost of fuel across the world is supposed to drop next year, but nobody knows if that's actually going to be the case, is it? I mean, it fluctuates based on a lot of things.
I guess this is what they've hedged. I don't know.
But also by that time, the cost.
These figures aren't even right. Mine is, this is not 30. This is 40. They're saying 34 cents for 23. I'm paying 46 cents a kilowatt. 46 cents, not 23.
Okay, let me read some of these messages.
33.
This person says here, my bill went from $342 to $598 last month versus current month's BPL bill.
Ouch.
Another one.
The costs that businesses are being hit with right now also are going to be passed on to us before this is said and done.
Right. Well, businesses pay less money than we do per kilowatt for fuel, for energy.
But they still pass on.
The increases.
So everything's going to go up.
Oh, yeah, everything will go up.
This one says, it's not crazy, it's downright injustice. My usage is down 11.3% for the same period last year, but my bill is $603 higher.
Mine is
the
same.
This is insanity. I'm ready to march or do whatever now. It's all surcharge to pay the oligarchs.
So we don't have to march in this case. We need that lawsuit because this goes way back.
Yeah.
And we have to sue all of the former ministers of BPL and the prime ministers.
Well, truthfully, 38 years ago, Christmas.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's when I remember you don't really remember like the half hour or the 1 hour. I mean, you could probably never even tell you when that was, but when it was out the entire day and only the food that was cooked the day before, because even a gas stove has an electric start.
Yeah. Right. All right. So I know there's more than one Black Christmas. I know some of that was union stuff, but I think I remember this one.
It was insane.
This was a different thing.
It was insane.
Yeah.
They had a
So
they had
can you
a
imagine
problem. Which
between the problems and the unions and all, there's always a problem with BEC, BPL, whatever you want to call it.
Again, back in 1956 was when BEC actually was formed, and I think that's when the original Electricity Act was done as well. And yes, you have generators, right? So you have generators. So you know that there's maintenance to that, right? And then you have a grid, and then you have transmission and distribution. But if you look at the outages that we had last week, I'm part of the BPL community WhatsApp group, like when people's power goes off, right? And sometimes it's like pages. It's just pages and rolling and rolling and rolling and rolling where areas are out. And why? Is that transmission and distribution? We've talked about that for years. That needs to be upgraded and redone. I think I've heard from two different ministers. I think one was like 120 million and the other was like 170 million to redo the grid. If that's the problem, do it. Collect the $100 million that you haven't collected and get that going.
Yeah.
Stabilize the grid. Make sure that the things that you actually have working are working. Make sure the maintenance on your generator. There's no sense. It doesn't matter. It's like going to the dentist saying, I got good news and bad news. The good news, your teeth are awesome. Bad news is the gums are no good. So you can have as much power generation as possible, but if you cannot get it to the people, if you cannot keep it going consistently, right?
In this regard, I think the teeth are rotten and the gums are bad.
I gave a wrong
I don't even know if they have any teeth.
I tried.
It's dentures, and the dentures are faulty.
Yeah,
but
I
okay.
tried.
Your guess is correct. There's absolutely no incentive right now to get solar. I've looked at it a few times and I realized it wasn't worth it. Bahamians complain, but they don't protest. Sad. Political blunders are costing us thousands of dollars in BPL bills.
I don't know where protests will get us if we don't all join together.
Yeah. Let's take this call and then we'll get back to your messages. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning.
Hi.
It's just so frustrating listening to this because I'm sick and tired of listening to it. But if you follow the money, why do we have the engines that we have? It's because of who supplies the fuel. It doesn't matter if the government changes because they're all
Correct.
partners in the fuel.
Correct.
Secondly, my bill is, like you said, Dwight, about 3 times higher than it was 3 months ago.
Yep.
And I'm not changing anything. My usage is down, but my surcharge is higher. And unless we do what we did to BTC and get it out of the hands of government, nothing is going to change.
Correct.
Yeah.
That's all I have to say.
Absolutely.
Correct.
My goodness.
We are
Thank
paying,
you so much. Thank you so much.
We are
Appreciate it.
paying for their mistakes.
Yeah.
Literally.
Dearly.
And it's because they can actually continue, because they are supported by financially and otherwise by government, they can actually go to government whenever they're in a crisis, whereas a regular company could not do that.
Yeah.
And we need a company, a limited company, that is totally responsible for the governance of the company itself and for supplying the mandate, which is I've forgotten. I've said it so many times. A reliable, safe, energy efficient,
Right, and cost efficient.
cost efficient
Yeah.
energy.
Yeah. Dwight, this BPL issue is definitely a big money maker for the donors to these political parties. We will never fix BPL until we pull our heads out of the sand and leave these two parties and get Bahamians tired. Is that what they're saying? Tired? Okay. And Bahamians get tired. My bill for my house is now $600 a month because when I bought my home in 2003, it was $150. As soon as the BPL man touched my meter, it doubled. They did this 3 more times last time. After I paid the bill, they refused to turn it back on until they touched my meter. Then it went from $300 to $600. They have never read it, by the way.
Wow.
Yeah, they don't come
That
read
complaint
meters anymore.
That complaint is
Regarding a class action lawsuit, as you say, Dwight, will please stop. Damien Gomez promised the same years ago and disappeared. Let's start by asking him how far he got. Stand up to these gangsters and protest and show the world that you're tired, as they do in France, which you so often remind us about.
Boy, you saw that?
Yeah. Are you ready now or still not had enough of these two parties yet? Okay. Don't forget they charge you reconnection fee as well, so we're being
Yes,
screwed
$50.
around and round. I cry shame on our government. They have no conscience.
the same government you keep re-electing.
Ask Debbie if Atlantis and Bahama pay their electricity bills and VAT every month, or do the Bahamian people subsidize it?
No, from what I'm understanding, they actually do pay their bills. Yeah, and actually, truthfully, if it weren't for Atlantis before Bahama, Atlantis was basically subsidized BPL. Yeah, for the amount of power they use.
Wow. My bill was $738 last month.
What?
I'm scared of this month. Debbie Deal, please give us some tips. I don't know.
The tips ain't help you now.
We've done everything we can.
Like I said in the beginning, we've done everything. We have reduced, our consumption. We've changed out our our bulbs for LED. We have put isonine in the attics, to make sure that our roofs are cool, so that we can have air conditioning that won't have to work so hard. We've all gone up to like a 20-SEER central air system. I think everybody, most people have changed out their windows to insulated impact windows, which is great because once it's insulated, you don't have to worry about the heat coming in. You shouldn't stand by a window, and if you're standing by the window inside your house, something's wrong. That needs to be changed, right? So I think we've done everything that we could possibly do. I don't think anybody leaves lights on any longer when they go to work. Most people, if you have your air conditioner, you can actually turn it so you have it like maybe 76 or 78 when you go to work, and when you come home, it goes back down to 75.
Oh, I need to do that.
You know, that's an amazing thing to do, and actually get used to your air conditioning at 75.
Yeah,
If you start getting used to air conditioning at
I can't get
68
used to
and 70 degrees,
Yeah.
mine's at 75.
Yeah?
Yeah.
But I didn't have air conditioning for 12 years, so for me,
remember when you
I feel
just
like
added that.
I feel like I'm a queen right now.
Oh boy, we're running out of time. Let me read a couple more of these messages and we'll take those calls really quickly. We need our own meter box. We pay our power bill for what we use. Yep, that's what Debbie's saying.
Yeah.
My bill went from $600 to $1,300 plus this month.
God.
What?
Wow, must be air conditioning plus the meter plus the fuel
Listen,
surcharge.
listen.
My goodness gracious.
Wow.
My electricity bill between my mother's house and my office and my house, I pay an average of $2,000 a month.
Lord.
Grief.
The energy sector is killing the Bahamas because whoever is benefiting doesn't care and nobody's helping the Bahamian people. Debbie made a wonderful contribution. Where are our leaders? Our leaders are concentrated on the environmental footprint, and we don't have a reliable energy provider, so we are causing further environmental damage by having to rely so much on fossil generators.
Correct.
That is a very good
Absolutely.
point as well.
Yeah, because you can't, when the power goes out, you can't go and hook up your solar and just say, okay, come on.
Yeah, crazy.
Someone call FPL, tell them we need them to drop that line.
Yeah.
Can't feel bad for us. This is what we rally for. Most Bahamians are too foolish with their red and yellow, chicken wings, rum, and music. Okay, well. Good morning. The electricity companies should by now have in their inventory generators. We are paying this oil bill almost $200 million after 50 years. They should have bought a ship to bring in oil. Why has the private companies still got their foot on our neck? Now the man wants to sell us the sun. Okay.
Well, now they're talking about the same fuel company that if you listen to the Prime Minister, that they are going to provide a new energy plant, and they are going to provide an LNG plant. They're going to do all this stuff, and it's going to be the fuel company that we owe money to. Why would you do that? Why would you get in bed with somebody that's been holding you hostage all this time and continue? Why? It does not make any sense.
That's what we do best.
Yes.
Let's take this final call really quickly. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. Good morning. Hi, good morning. You're on the air.
Yes, good morning to you, Dwight, Debbie, and
Really quickly, see, I'm running out of time.
yeah, I'm simply saying this. If you look at BPL, and do a comparative analysis over the last 40 years, you'll find out that BPL has done that more damage to the economy than all the hurricanes combined. The problem is that we have never once in that time, nor today, have a plan or a strategy for BPL, from power reduction to replacement of the grid system to an actual strategy for actually addressing the 100,000 homes plus homes in the Bahamas and how do you solve the problem. So we could have all this talk about green and the Bahamas and climate change and everything, where we say we're going to go from oil to LNG, which is still the same carbon. We have to master the art of talking, but very little solutions.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Yeah, Cialan is absolutely right. We, I forgot what I was going to say. I'll try to remember.
Very interesting text to end on. Without internal investigation or international investigation, or a party that is not FNM or PLP, will never get to the bottom of this BPL issue. Former board members and MPs and PMs of both parties are very much aware of what's happening and what needs to be done. But they walk among us with no conscience or voice while we complain and still pay because we won't stand up to the madness.
Right.
Businesses will simply pass the cost on to citizens and will continue to get unreliable service, but we will still talk.
Right. What Cialan had said is, until we do this, until we change this, we, unfortunately, the people, cannot change this because we don't sit on the board. We're not the manager. We're not the minister, and we don't sit in cabinet. So we cannot make any of these changes ourselves.
Yeah, and people will pay. People will pay their bills, and
Because they don't want to die on the side of the street in this heat.
Yeah. Well.
This is cruel.
Absolutely,
it's very cruel
and unusual.
This is the cruelest because this is like 2.5 times worse than it was back in 2008 when that fuel thing happened.
This is actually evil, and I don't know how we're going to do this.
I don't know.
Oh boy! But we can't stop. We can't stop. We have to let everyone know that
we have to keep ripping the Band-Aid off. Every opportunity you get, rip the Band-Aid off. Be so annoying that they will do something just Yes.
Yeah. Debbie, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
So hopefully you will
Thanks
come
for
back and
inviting
be
me.
annoying with us.
I will.
Yeah?
I will.
Okay.
I'll continue.
I
I'll continue
appreciate
this
it.
fight. You know, I have 2 girls and 2 grandkids, and I want to make sure that they can stay in this country. Yeah. Thanks.
Oh boy, depressing. So we will definitely need wine after this. So stay
Yeah.
tuned for Bristol Wine and Spirits are coming up with us.
I'm staying.
Yeah. This is Morning Blend. We'll be right back.
But we got some jokey leaders in a jokey town. A 3-ring circus, what a bunch of clowns. They're joking and they're jiving, but they're messing around. We got some jokey leaders, what a bunch of clowns.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
The views and opinions of the host and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Trying to bring down the blood pressure from the previous segment. But welcome. This is Morning Blend Business on Wednesday, July 19th, 2023. Welcome back to our Morning Blend listeners. Once again, I'm Dwight Strachan along with Chester Robards. Not talking about electricity now. We are talking about wine, one of our favorite topics every month, Bristol Wine and Spirits. They're here with us. We've got Kyle Stubbs and Tori Saunders with us. Gentlemen, good morning. Great to have you with us. Get the mic. There we go. Thank you for coming and getting our mind off some of the challenges that we've been facing this morning. Hopefully, your bills are cooperating with you. Or you try not to look.
Try not to. Try not to look. Just concentrate on opening some wine bottles.
There you go. There you go. That's
but
what
I don't
matters.
think any of us can duck what's happening power-wise.
No.
And it's unfortunate because the higher the power bills go, the less disposable income we have to purchase wine.
There you go. That's a real tragedy.
Yeah, serious.
People are going to have to start unplugging their wine coolers and putting stuff in the fridge.
And now we're talking about disasters. Man-made disasters.
You got to find space in the fridge. You know?
Yeah. You got to
Not
share
enough
the juice
power
and the
for
milk.
two.
Right, yeah.
Wow. Now you've lost it, Chester. let's be reasonable here. All right. So what are we talking about this morning?
I want to talk about France. An appreciation and a love for wine.
Oui.
What gets us to that appreciation and that love? A little bit on my little excursion that I had a week ago. I spent 6 days inside Burgundy, France.
Oh, yes.
And then we'll discuss what's up. Oh, jeez. We'll discuss what's up with some training opportunities. We have an international certificate program that we get started on Saturday. Well, actually, one level gets started today, the WSET level 2, and on Saturday we get started with the WSET level 1.
Wow.
And But, when it comes to wine, a true appreciation or love for wine comes from an understanding or appreciation of this term called terroir, the sense of place, right? Soil composition, climatic conditions, sun exposures, and how that all contribute to what it is that we get inside a bottle of wine. We always discuss, you could have a Pinot Noir from 4 or 5 different places over the world, and it's never going to give you the same taste profile.
Right.
But this approach to terroir, those who revere it are the French folks, the folks inside Burgundy, and that's the home of Chardonnay and Pinot Noir.
What do you call a person who's an expert in terroir? Not a terrorist.
Oh, boy. And he hasn't had any wine yet.
Thanks for the room.
Can you imagine?
Once in I call it terrorist.
A terrorist.
Oh, goodness gracious.
Sorry.
Wow.
I'm ashamed of myself.
You should be.
The folks in Burgundy, France understood and understand, that on a mountain or a hill, right, I can have at the base and on my slope and at my peak 3 different climatic conditions or microclimates, which means either the difference in soil composition in these 3 locations means that I change the grape varieties that I'm growing, or the quality level of the same grape variety changes from the base of the mountain to the slope to the peak.
Wow.
And these guys just revere it. So their classifications is all about where your grapes are being grown, not necessarily how much your bottle of wine costs or who said that this wine is an exceptional bottle of wine. It's the appreciation that, hey, the best of the best wines come from the sun-exposed slopes of the mountain, and that's where we get our Grand Crus from. Slightly below that, where we don't have that as much sun exposure, is where we get our Premier Cru wines from. Where on our flat plains is where we get what we call just the Bourgogne wines, the entry-level Burgundy wines, the red and whites. Nothing special to them, usually no real aging regiment or anything of that sort. And then to the peak, depending on which side of the mountain you're on, you have some extreme sun exposure, which could be too much.
Okay.
And so the quality isn't as good as right beneath it. Or in terms of cold spots, it could be extremely cold. And so you retain, the acid components and that kind of stuff. So again, it doesn't give you the balance that you would get in the middle slope of a mountain kind of thing.
Right.
And so, that's how they divided up this region, right? 5 smaller wine producing regions within Burgundy, right? And so we brought some wines to start up in the north is Chablis, and we talk about Chablis as just borderline with Champagne, right? When I was there last week, it was just crazy to stand up on a mountain and be able to point and say, oh, that's Champagne, like right there, 2 miles away,
my goodness.
right there. And then we moved down into some of the other areas called the Côte de Nuit, the Côte de Beaune. Then we move into the Mâconnais, the Chalonnais, Beaujolais, which everybody drinks as a nice, easy drinking red wine. And again, nicely divided vineyard spaces based on what's happening in the soil composition, what's happening with the climate, who is closer to a body of water and not. And these are the specifics that lead them to understand and plant specific grapes. And of course, with that level of intricacy into this winemaking, once we move from these levels of wine that we have here on the table, we make a nice sizable jump. So for an entry-level Pinot Noir from Burgundy, France, is about $45, right? Whereas an entry-level Pinot Noir from California, we can get from $15 to $20 kind of thing. But we are very specific on site, grape variety, clone, what's the soil composition, and it just shows up at the end price point kind of thing.
Right.
They're a lot more in tune with toast levels of the barrel and how long they leave their wines inside for storage. So this is the part of wine that really make me a geek. Like you never understand it enough, and you're always looking for another level of appreciation kind of thing.
Now, you've talked a lot about climate change and how that's changing wines from other parts of the world, but is there any part of the world like that's close to France in terms of what you've been describing this morning in terms of...
I think climate change is moving everybody into that direction, right? Even with France, these are the guys who are very specific about vintage, right? And so before this climate change conversation started, what was a wet vintage versus a very cold vintage versus a very hot vintage. Now we're talking about extremely hot vintages, right? And so, it's the time of harvesting grapes changes on a yearly basis based on climatic conditions, right? Some years, I think it was 2019, they said they were harvesting in August when they usually harvest second, third week of September. And that's just based on how warm it is.
Right.
I assume this year, because everybody globally has been feeling this. They're taking their vacation a week or two earlier in anticipation that this will be another early harvest. So I think climate change is making people very in tune with what grape varieties we could plant, where we plant them, and then the other parts of the process. When are we harvesting to make sure we aren't too food forward? We still have acid. And, how do we produce balanced wine? 103, 104, 105 degrees isn't ideal for wine growing. Although we want the vines to stress themselves and everything else, it's extremely hot.
So what generally is the impact on...
We're talking about extra ripe grapes and that kind of stuff. And so again, the winemaker would be, harvesting unripe grapes to prevent themselves from that. Outside of that, in California, there's one or two other things that winemakers would do, but we're talking France today, so we don't talk about winemaker's influence. We want to talk about the natural contribution to what's in the bottle, kind of thing.
Okay, wow.
So what was your trip to France like? You had some food pairings. I mean, France is the culinary capital, right?
So France is the culinary capital, and I actually had an opportunity to spend a night inside Lyon, which is called the culinary capital of France.
Wow.
Lyon. I honestly, I've been back home 10 days, and I'm still trying to wrap my head around it. It's been 5 days of breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Breakfast probably was the most softest meal. 5 lunches, they were all 3 courses and ended with cheese. 5 dinners, they were all 5 courses and ended with cheese. They all came with wine pairings, and each day we tasted about 22 wines.
Wow.
And that is besides just driving up and looking at vineyards. And for me, it's like a kid in the candy store, like sitting on the wall at Romani Conti that costs $15,000 and playing with the grapes. It's just like, wow, I'm really here in France at Romani Conti playing with $15,000 grapes.
Wow.
It was an exceptional experience. Culinary is my background, so I literally just threw myself into it. Ate some foie gras and drank some exceptionally good wines. But my real storyteller about the trip was, it was 14 of us from around the world, right? Folks from Morocco. We had some folks from Quebec in Canada, somebody from the Dominican Republic, Tahiti, who am I missing? Dubai, Italy, Hong Kong. And it was literally just class. We want to brainwash you on Louis Vuitton. We want to get you extremely, I don't want to say intoxicated. We want you to taste a lot of Louis Vuitton wines. But in the industry, 2 things. To validate yourself is a blind tasting, and to look at the quality of a wine is a blind tasting. And so it was fortunate and surprising that I came out tied in the top 3 in the blind tasting out of 14 persons for a region that is extremely difficult.
Come on now.
I've never done.
Come on now, Kyle.
I haven't done competitive blind tasting since 2013, so it was a real gratifying shock to come out, top 3.
We ain't got no small fry on the radio when it comes to these things. This is a big man.
Put some respect on his name.
That's right.
Kyle Stubbs.
That's right.
All right.
Indeed. So what we have in front of us to taste, and I had a fortunate pleasure of visiting them while I was there, is this place called Seminette Ferb. And they're in the north region of Chablis, right? And so Chablis is 100% Chardonnay. But there are some smaller communes around Chablis that's making something that we know as Petit Chablis. And it's just because it's not from this Chablis region. It's more on the peak of the mountaintop, so we're not getting as good of grape qualities. But they're also, based on climatic conditions, producing some other grape varieties, one of which is Pinot Noir. I think we might have tasted this before, but just to bring this story full circle, we pulled it back out. So these guys were just purchased from Louis Vuitton a few years ago, and it's just so Louis Vuitton could add some extensions, some sparkling, right? Some Pinot Noir from a different region that they don't have in their portfolio because they concentrate on the meat of Burgundy, so the Côte de Beaune and the Côte de Nuit. And then a little bit of interesting stuff. These are the only folks inside Chablis who is making sparkling of what we call Cremant de Bourgogne. Literally, if we were to throw these grapes, like I said, I was standing on the mountain looking down 2 miles. If we were to throw these grapes 2 miles down the road, we'd be drinking champagne.
Wow.
And so I like this because we're in that champagne environment, but we're not in that economic price point when it comes to champagne. And so when my predecessor, Rusty, and our president, Warren, went to Burgundy in 2018 and came back with this fantastic sparkling at $23 retail.
Wow.
Through the same process that champagne goes through. I'm like, okay, now we're on the
And the same process. Okay.
Exact same process. So what make champagne what it is the secondary fermentation to get the bubbles happens inside the individual bottles.
Oh my goodness.
And we leave the dead yeast to the bottom of the bottles to give us a little bit of complexity. When you drink champagne, people always talk about yeasty, bready, brioche kind of flavors. That's from that leaving the dead yeast cells. And then we do a dosage. So we add a little bit more wine back because we have to remove some wine when we remove the dead yeast cells.
Right.
Freeze the neck of the bottle, remove that, and top it back up. And we go through a little bit of aging inside the bottle before we put it out to market. So even though this is just a $23 bottle of wine called a Cremant de Bourgogne, it has 12 months of aging inside this bottle before it came to market. So again, we're developing some complexity. This isn't, no disrespect to the Prosecco's or the sparkling wines, but it isn't a Prosecco or
Right.
sparkling wine. And it's just not a champagne because it isn't from that region that produces, the quality that we know in the grape varieties. But it's right next door.
So it is technically what, a sparkling Chablis or what?
No, they call it a Cremant de Bourgogne, just a sparkling, a Bourgogne sparkling. So they're doing this in Chablis. A lot of folks are making Bourgognes inside the Beaujolais area, even though we know Beaujolais for red. But it's just saying that we can make sparkling wine from grapes sourced anywhere inside Burgundy or Bourgogne. But these guys concentrate on their grapes coming from the Chablis region where they do all of their production.
Okay.
All right.
right.
So here we go.
Let's see what
So
that's
we're talking
like.
about using the same grape varieties that we do in Champagne. There's three. There's a Chardonnay, Pinot Noir, and Pinot Meunier. This one has two of them in there. I think this is 60% Chardonnay and 40% Pinot Noir. Just letting the record show that that's Chester.
Yeah,
Chester. That's deep in the mic.
Very special mood
He's been
today.
practicing.
I don't know what's going on with him.
That is
That's
very
nice.
nice.
That's nice.
That is crisp.
Yeah, there you go. The color, the golden color shows up from the Chardonnay.
It's almost refreshing.
There you go.
Yeah.
And like Tori is saying, the small bubbles, that's that refinement of doing the secondary fermentation inside the bottle.
It's almost unnoticeable.
Yeah.
But you taste it.
There you go. And it's an enjoyable prickle,
Pretty nice.
Like a foamy sensation.
That's nice.
Yeah, it's pretty nice.
I've been very impressed by the sparklings that are not champagne but go through the same process and can't be called champagne. But I mean, the quality is
It's exceptional. We have a next one. Oh, jeez. I said I wasn't talking about North American wines. But we have a next one that belongs to the big champagne house called Tadenga. We have their Domaine Caneros, which is from Caneros inside California. I mean, you're lining it up with some of our champagnes. It's too difficult to tell the difference.
You say this retails for
23.
get out of town. Get out of town.
crazy.
This is great for your little day at the beach or
Most
whatever.
definitely. Like we just
Fire it up cold. Huh?
Not Hennessy.
No. Yeah.
But we were just talking about the power bills, and so you have to spend a little bit more money on the power bill, and so maybe this drops you down from the $55 La House champagne to a $23
That's
Cremant de
impressive.
Bourgogne.
That's
It
very
is very
impressive.
impressive. Yeah.
And that's not like a special.
No,
price.
that's
This is the
where it's
price.
at. No, that's where it's
Okay,
at.
that's
But you have to leave your house so you could turn everything off and go to the beach, and then you get a $3 bag of ice, and you don't have to run your freezer for that.
if
you know?
there's fine ice.
Oh yeah, that's true.
2 weekends in a row. What is
Yeah.
happening with ice?
Oh boy.
People got to
Go
keep
to the little machine by
people's power is off.
Oh,
That's the
okay.
trick.
People power off, man. They got to keep their stuff cool. They couldn't pay their bills.
The season finale of the Bahamas, I guess.
No,
Everything's gone wild. I don't know what's
Oh
happening.
man.
Woo! All right. So this is what we have to take our
this
mind
is-
off things.
But the thing about it is sparkling wine goes with a lot of things that we do, right? Normally people will be saying champagne and oysters and that kind of stuff, right? A classic pairing of champagne is fried.
Oh,
right?
Oh, really?
A classic, when I say fried, I mean, where we put that extra coating and we get the crispiness kind of thing, right? Chicken in the bag and French
Come on,
fries.
What?
What?
Now I have heard you say a lot of things pair well with chicken in the bag. But this
Google champagne and French fries and find out if that's not a classic pairing. French fries and champagne.
But they're not even French.
No, it is.
But no, we will not, but we're just saying classic pairing. So
if
we
they're
have some guys who do
crispy,
chicken
I
in the
can kinda
bag.
see it.
We have some guys who do chicken in the bag once in a while up on the hill, and we usually bring out a sparkling wine when they come out.
I need you guys to come and do a tasting at a greasy place that seems unconventional.
Right on the corner of Nassau Street and Boyd Road. You tell me when you want to meet there. I bring the wine.
right after the show.
No, but I'm kid you not. Take it easy on the ketchup, right? No mayonnaise, no onions. Try a chicken in the bag with some French fries and a sparkling wine.
So light on the ketchup because the acid in it.
There you go. Yeah,
do
that's
something
savory
to taste.
tomatoey
So
acid.
almost done.
Yeah.
Just eat the French fries.
I like it.
Fried dry.
Yeah, fried dried.
I think it would be a little bit better.
Because this is going to salivate and keep moisture in your mouth kind of thing, so fried dried won't be a problem.
Oh, my goodness. There's an art and a
That's very interesting.
method to this thing.
There's a science to it.
There's a
That's-
science.
that-
I mean, it's priced right. You could have a good time, really good time.
I mean, you could have, a 5-piece from Kentucky and a bottle of Command.
boy.
No, and that's elevating
The
a
bottle will
Kentucky
be less
experience.
than the food.
I'm not going there.
Yeah. All right, so let's take a break. When we come back, we have more with Kyle and Tori from Bristol Wines and Spirits. This is Morning Blend Business on Guardian Radio 96.9.
You've tried everything. ASUS with your mother's cousin's sister's auntie, and even hiding your money under your mattress. But is your money safe? Your Bahamian dollar deposit in a member bank or credit union is insured up to $50,000. If anything happens, your deposit up to the insured value will be returned to you thanks to Deposit Insurance. Visit Deposit Insurance Corporation at www.dic.bs.
Protection for your money guaranteed with DIC.
Doctors Hospital has reimagined primary care. We have invested to improve our health system, ensuring that accessible, affordable, world-class clinical care is closer to you. We understand that your relationship with a primary care provider shapes the foundation of your overall health. Our new modern primary care facilities are where critical diagnoses and true personalized treatment begins. With locations across New Providence, Grand Bahama, and Exuma, we invite you to experience the Doctors Hospital difference. Book your next appointment at clinics.doctorshosp.com.
We're gonna give you a check every week for a year. Percy's pension plan. Island game, keep you winning. Percy's pension plan. Dream big, we will help you live it. Percy's pension plan. Island game, we got you. Percy's pension plan. From the friends you can trust. If winning is a must, come play the game you know, cause your best chance is with us. The most trustworthy name is Percy's Island Game. So put 20 on your account and ride this easy train at Percy's Island Game.
Are you dreaming of the perfect summer getaway? Apply for a debt consolidation or personal loan to win an airline ticket to Paris, Miami, or New York. Win up to $2,500 in cash and more. For details, call 356-7764 for Nassau, 602-6811 for Freeport, 823-4374 for Abaco.
Beulah gal, can you believe this? We are now the patrol queens of the neighborhood. We now large and in charge. So we need to check out what's going on in everybody's yard. What about that gun that we know that Junior and his homeboys just ran out? Can we report that too? Of course we can. But we could be in deep trouble if they find out. We need to report what we see, Beulah. When you call Crime Stoppers, they just answer your call in Miami. So then we can report everything? Guns, where they hiding the drugs, who shoot who part of which gang, or who disturbing the peace with the loud music and the motorcycles. Then our neighborhood will be the best in the Bahamas, and everybody gonna want to come live here. And then our house price will go up, gal. So what we waiting on? What's the number?
If you see something, say something. Let us all pitch in and stop the crime before it's your time. Call 328-8477 from Nassau or 242-300-8477 from the Family Islands. Or text us through the Crack Crime Bahamas app. Stop the crime before it's your time.
Bust right up. Come on. Bust right up.
No.
For the record.
We're only sampling.
For the record.
No.
Wow, my boss is listening.
I don't know.
Is this my fault?
I don't know what producer's trying to do. We are sampling.
Mom, I'm
This is
sorry.
No, not that. That's not happening.
It's not accurate. It's not accurate.
Inaccurate music. All right, welcome back to Worrying About Business on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strong on Chester Robards. We've got Kyle Stubbs and Tori Saunders from Bristol Wines and Spirits with us, talking about the terroir and from France and what makes it so special. This is interesting because we had some interesting things to say about France earlier, but yeah, but that not wine.
Right, yeah.
No.
They get a pass.
Right. The
winemakers get a pass.
Yeah, that's fine. All right. So prices, we talked about that before. That last year, especially, everything was going up last year. Inflation. How are things looking now? Are we stabilizing, or what? Are we
We're stabilizing in terms of prices as a result of the pandemic, right? But we're not stabilizing in terms of those who are affected by climate change.
Okay. Oh.
So we talk about warmer climates. So what that means is we get riper grapes. And so when we have a winemaker who's looking for particular composition and grape varieties, it's a little bit more difficult to find that or to time that. And so what did he end up doing is losing some crop.
Right.
Yeah. So losing some crop doesn't mean that the demand changes on the consumer end. So with that same demand still being there, or hyped up demand, which means the winemaker now has to, or the winery has to, step away from being agriculture and talk economics.
Yeah.
And so now we see price being driven based on demand and the inability for the winemakers or the winery to keep up the availability of product solely based on what's happening climatically, right? So, we know in California a few years ago, fire kind of wiped out the 2019 vintage.
Oh, boy.
Right? And it's the same thing we're speaking here inside Burgundy. The frost of, 23, 22, 21, I think the frost of 21 caused a lot of wineries to skip that particular vintage kind of thing. And so that means whatever wine was in the market was in higher demand. So it means the wines that came out the vintage afterwards still wouldn't have been able to take care for the demand of that vintage that was missed.
Right.
And so if Kyle in the Bahamas wants this, and Tori wants this, and my friend in Morocco wants this, but I only have this limited amount. You know what, Kyle? You got to pay for this. Tori, you got to pay for this. Hey, Morocco, you got to pay for this. And so literally supply and demand is now changing the price conversations in a lot of regions, especially those regions that are driven by what's happening climatically, right? And so France is leading that conversation. So the price isn't about logistical concerns or we can't get bottles or corks. It's literally vintage after vintage. Can we produce the wine that's being demanded inside the markets?
Did any vineyards go out of business as a result of those things? Fires and other problems?
Not necessarily out of business, but there's a lot of big wine companies in the wine business. So they just been snooping around and scooping up people who are in problems and talking a few years ago, Louis Vuitton said, "Hey, Seminette, don't worry about it. We have another big house that's going to purchase up the competition to Seminette, which is William Ferb, right out of Chablis as well. So that's where we see the bigger guys are stepping in and holding the hands of the smaller guys, or just
Is that a good thing, or what does that mean for the future?
I think it keeps the longevity of wine. But now, whether we have a focus on an increase on quality or not, we'll have to see in a few years to go. But people like Louis Vuitton, we appreciate because they will sign contracts for decades with their grape growers. And Louis Vuitton team members would evaluate what is happening inside these particular vineyards. So I know some folks around town talk about, Louis Vuitton buy their grapes, or a lot of, wineries buy their grapes, and they have this conversation about family-owned and small-owned. But when you have somebody who's been in the business for 17 generations and they're tying the hands of everybody, all of their contractors, right? Whether you're shipping grapes, this is how we ship grapes, these size containers underneath these conditions. Whether you're growing grapes for us, this is how we grow grapes. I mean, literally in terms of how we're pruning the tree and the space between the buds and everything else, Louis Vuitton tells these folks this is what, only so they can maintain 17 generations of consistency and quality.
Nice.
So I could live with that, and on that end, I could see people like Louis Vuitton. They are preserving what it is that we consider a wine industry. Some other folks are just making some business decisions.
I wanted to ask. I know you guys were being sold France when you were on your trip, but you actually had some colleagues from countries that do their own wine growing, grape growing, and wine production.
Yeah.
Did you have some conversation with those people?
Most
about,
definitely.
What's going on in those countries?
I had a big conversation. I can't remember his name off the top of my head. This gentleman from Spain. Two things. premium importers, I think they're called. So he is the largest importer of high-end French wines in Spain. So things that probably will never make it. No, never. And our market isn't ripe for it right now. So I spoke about the Romani Conti. I don't, outside of Bahama, I don't see us having Romani Conti in our market. But these guys buy cases or whatever's available in the market, they will scoop it all up. Wow. But the company he works for also produces some great Crianzas and Riojas inside Spain. So we got into conversation about the same thing we're talking here. How has the pandemic affected things for them? Price changes. Have they seen an increase in local distribution or export kind of thing? But everybody is suffering. Suffering.
Equally,
but trying to find the balance between the elements that are being thrown their way. But what I really liked, and probably some internal conversations at Bristol, a lot of folks put the same focus that they have on the B2B to the B2C, right? They value the consumer outside of just walking in the retail store.
Yeah.
They have a lot of programmings around the consumer to make this liquor store your store, right? You're the expert in the store. Online tastings, in-store tastings, subscription programs, and literally the team that focuses on the restaurants and the hotels is just as big as the team that focuses on the end consumer kind of thing. So it was just interesting to see that and have those conversations. Of course, with 14 different jurisdictions represented, it's interesting to see, again, no problems, tax structures and how lucrative it is for other folks in other markets to do things that they do when the tax structure isn't so aggressive. I don't think that could get me into problems.
Okay, yeah, that's fair.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. Interesting text here. And you can text us as well, 422-4796. If you have a question for Kyle or Tori. This person says, I did a wine tasting class, and what I found was that my favorite wines were the cheaper ones. I did not like the taste of the expensive ones. Is this common?
It's interesting.
I think there's a little bit more of a palate development thing, right? I don't want to use the word cheap, but the entry-level wines are usually palate-friendly, but lacking in some complexity. But it takes some exposure of the palate to enjoy and appreciate when you get into the level of complexity, right? It's just we make wine today and drink it. But as you move up, it's like we make wine today, we store it in some oak barrels, we change the temperature in which we do fermentation, and so all of that brings a little bit different complexity to the wine. But if we've only been enjoying or been exposed to the cheap and cheerful wines, then our palate will enjoy that until
a little bit sweeter and stuff.
Until we reach 45, and then the palate just changes on its own.
Is that what happened?
Oh, okay. That's what's wrong.
That explains a lot. That explains a heck of a lot. All right.
It's levels to the palate for sure.
Yeah, definitely. All right. So what do we have here? What is
so this is Simonette Ferb's Pinot Noir.
The bottle looks familiar. So
I'm almost certain we've tasted this. So this is, we call this a workhorse for us.
Workhorse?
Yeah, I mean it's $15, $16 retail maybe.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't think we had
True
this one
Pinot
before.
Noir.
100%
Pinot Noir.
100% Pinot Noir. It's stylistically what we get out of this region, right? It's light.
Is that very uncommon to be 100%?
Outside of France, it is.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. All of the Pinot Noirs that we get from Burgundy are going to be 100% Pinot Noir. But when we get into, California, it's Pinot Noir with a little bit of this, or Pinot Noir with a little bit of that.
Right, okay.
This is 100% Pinot Noir. Again, they just want you to see what the place has, right? So they expect this glass to show what it is that's happening inside Chablis. Limestone soil, right? Extremely cold climate. So we expect an acid to show up inside this, right? Pinot Noir, cool climate Pinot Noirs are very elegant and light. So we expect to see that in color and on the feel of the palate. And then we know classic flavors of Pinot Noir are cherry cola, and some floral elements, and we expect to get this in Pinot Noir. And so
what are you smelling, Chester?
Well, the nose to me is, I felt like it was very grape. Like I smell the fruit.
Yeah.
I get the fruit. But the floral is there.
Yeah,
absolutely.
it's definitely
We say great, but I just transferred it over into like a nice I just seen in the food store yesterday the dark cherries.
Yeah.
The dark
Definitely cherries.
That's very smooth.
Yeah.
That's licorice.
Very smooth.
It's a Pinot Noir.
For sure.
Mm-hmm. It is.
I like it.
Like this is your. I can pick up 3 bottles of this.
Yeah.
Still don't break the bank.
No, that's pretty cool.
Right. The thing about this is, and you can taste it. I shoved it in the fridge for a few minutes before I left home today.
Yeah.
And I also put a couple of cubes of ice inside the wine bag on its way, just to bring the temperature down. This would be the red wine if you insist on drinking red wine on the beach in 103 degrees.
Yeah.
I advise against. But if you do, then just put it on some ice and you should be all right.
It's very easy, easy around the tongue.
Yeah. And even when you feel the acid in the back, you enjoyed everything that it makes the acid a little bit more enjoyable kind of thing. This will also be a red wine that can play with some seafood. You can put this on the side of some salmon. You can put this on the side of some grouper.
Yeah.
And it'll behave pretty good.
That's a nice one. Again, this is, tell us the name again.
Simonet Ferb. These guys are out of the Chablis region, but they're owned by Louis Vuitton. They have their own separate operations, so you can see the labels are completely different from Louis Vuitton. Next month, we'll bring out a couple of Louis Vuitton wines.
And you're saying this is 15?
Yeah.
1.5.
Yeah.
That's
but see, with this Pinot Noir, you don't tell your guests what you paid for it.
No.
No.
But because they will enjoy
it's much more than that.
So I don't want to put no restaurants and no problems. But this
is a house.
Is a house pour
Oh.
in a lot of good restaurants around
nice.
town.
Okay.
And the price that
$15 a glass?
You said it. Thank you for taking that.
Oh my goodness.
That's industry standard. So let's not pretend like we don't know.
But right, and I always explain this, right? Most restaurants are at 300% markup, industry standards. There's a couple around town that's a little bit higher, right?
Yeah.
But once we take into consideration, just as we're enjoying this wine right now, had I not put this wine inside the fridge or put some ice on it, we might not have enjoyed as much as we're enjoying it. So we're going to have to appreciate that somebody inside a restaurant has this wine inside a wine cooler. We're contributing to somebody's BPL bill. Right? Some server is going to have to retrieve this wine for you and serve this for you. Hopefully it's properly, right? So we can't never expect that this wine that's $15 inside Bristol's is going to be $15 inside.
So this is $11.50 before VAT, and this is $18.35.
There you go. Before VAT.
Wow.
Right. So we can't ever expect to have that price because somebody had to receive it, somebody is storing it, somebody had to serve it, kind of thing.
As you said,
But
BPL.
when you get
the BPL fee.
Yeah, the BPL fee.
Right.
But once you taste it like we've done today,
Yeah.
inside a restaurant setting, you're going to say, that's an enjoyable glass of Pinot Noir. At $15
And we have
in the
to
restaurant
remember-
setting, that's good.
Room temperature doesn't mean Bahamas room temperature.
It's 103.
Right.
Yeah, it's
That's-
103
this is
degrees Fahrenheit.
France
Could
in the
never be-
mountains
Right.
room temperature.
Right. So even when they speak about room temperature and they carry you down inside the cellar, you're like, where's my jacket?
You're right.
You know
exactly.
what I mean? So it's definitely not this 103.
Red, it should not be
degrees
like I've been seeing in a number of
Restaurants.
little pubs and restaurants. where
Standing
the-
on the bar.
On the bar, standing upright.
You know,
right?
It's a $500 investment in a wine cooler.
It's, boy. we got to talk about do a show on this because it's an epidemic.
Yeah.
Everywhere you go, the wine is standing up on a shelf. And like,
and
this
it's
is
not
right.
display. You stay there long enough, you can watch them turn around and grab a bottle and open it. And it's,
right.
But
very disturbing.
you know, that's what makes Tori and I job so interesting is we're always going to be able to have conversation with these restaurants to push them in the right direction. Slowly but surely, some people are coming on board.
That's hopeful.
We don't make real money in a restaurant in the back of the house. The money is made on the bar and some wine service. That's facts.
Yeah.
And nothing against chefs. You know, I love them, appreciate them, I work closely with them, but you know, they complement the money makers.
Right.
And the money makers are cocktails, mixologists, and wines and somms. That's facts in the restaurant.
You have to pay your drink with the food.
Yeah, I just seen somebody posting.
And not the other way around.
You already going there for this plate.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you know what I mean? Make this plate enjoyable
Right.
by having 2 bottles of this
Exactly.
wine. You only getting 2 steaks.
Yeah.
You only getting 2 fish.
Yeah.
Right.
But you might have 4 bottles of wine.
That's very true.
For sure.
Well, folks, I hope you're listening, paying attention, and we got a long summer ahead, and so make the right choices. But
The classes.
Really quickly.
Yeah, so-
yes, really quick. Tell us
So
about
two
that.
things. So Chester just asked off air, and I just wanted to let folks know we do offer private tastings on property at Premier Crew, or we can come to you. So whether it's a birthday party, whether it's a bridal party, whether it's a girls' night out, you can reach out to us at Kyle.Stubbs.
So we're trying that now.
Yeah, right. They were like, call.
Kyle.Stubbs at Bristol.bs. Both Tori and I, we gang up on things, or if there's a demand for both of us, he goes in one direction, I go in the other direction. It's real fun. It's nothing over the top. Charcuterie and wine is included. 2 hours of fun, good
Beautiful.
conversations. Depending on how relaxed we are, we give out some prizes. So is the wine snob who came just to get drunk. All of those good stuff. Team building exercises we can do, corporate wise. We got a lot of corporate drinkers.
Do something for Guardian Radio.
There you go.
Do that, Chester. What do you think?
Why is he putting it out on you, Justin?
I don't know. It's
Sorry, I
crazy.
was just it was confusing just now. But we take it all in, and then the other part is we start WSET, the Wine and Spirit Educational Trust, and I always say it when I speak of Tories.
Wine and
Spirit Educational Trust,
Wow.
right, out of London. But right now, they're the largest organization in terms of certification in wine, spirits, cheeses, sake, whatever you name it. We start with the level 1 on Saturday. So you
Okay.
can email me again at Kyle@Stubbs@Bristol.bs, and I will send you all of the information. It's
Not
literally-
too late to sign up.
It's not too late. It's $275, and that's 2 Saturdays of class, 1 Saturday of a review and wine tasting, and then you sit the exam the following. And it's an internationally recognized pin.
Wow.
And that's just level 1. We have level 2 that actually starts today, and we'll do another level 2 in the fall, and then hopefully we can finish off a level 3 before the end of this year, so we can have some other psalms walking around town.
Very exciting stuff going
Nice.
on. Always exciting stuff with Kyle Stubbs and Tori Saunders with Bristol Wines and Spirits. Thank you so much for being here this morning. Really appreciate it. Great conversation and learned a lot. And look forward to seeing you